is up, RotoGrinders? The start of the People Show is now. It is a very intimate People Show. It's two-thirds. Myself, Dean Shables, Dean 7904 if you want to get all technical. Joined by Tasteful Tides. Tim, just the two of us. Your usage, we talked about this pre-show. Your usage has to go up, man. We're going to need you to chuck up a few more shots. I hope you're ready for it. An hour and 15 minutes till we yield to crunch time. You good to go? Get some reps in the pre-show?
Yeah, I mean, but we can't call this the People Show, Dean, without Bobby. I mean, it just can't be. You know, it's just without Bobby, it's not a true People Show.
What should we call it? Maybe the people in the chat can tell us what we can call it. But yeah, hit that like button. I see y'all hanging out in the chat. Gator Nation, Brian, Don Yeezy, Derek as well. Brian says it's 5 p.m. Do you know where your RotoGrinders are? Well, they certainly are. Well, wait a second. We were live at 5 and change. Come on, Brian. Let's round down. We were on time. But if you have notifications turned on, you would always know. Basically every single time, depending on the slate. Sometimes you get a goofy start time, but usually 5 o'clock on the East Coast. That is when the baseball shows get rolling. Let's see. DFS Live minus Bob. That's our suggestion being thrown out there in the chat. The Some People Show. There you go. The Some People Show from KC. Hopefully, but yeah, I think Bobby, he'll be back next week, I presume. I hope. Hopefully, things are going well with him. But yeah, you gotta pick up some usage today, Tim. It's all on you. No pressure.
Hey, I'm ready. I made an amazing list. I can't wait to make it public. I've been working on it for a week, so I'm pretty excited.
So that's I actually know the category for today's tiers, and I was not in on it the process. I didn't want to be in on the process, but I should probably just throw it to you. But it's Deanisms. Is that fair to say? We're calling it Deanisms.
Yeah, we're calling them Deanisms.
And yeah, so maybe the chat can throw out to what they think would qualify. I know we typically do this later on in the show, but we're giving them a heads up. We're giving them like a half hour to prep. Did you said you spent a week on it, like for real? Like it took you that long? And there's so much. I say so much nonsense, I suppose. I don't even know what qualifies. We live in the world of a salary as a Deanism. Well, that's one of them for sure. That's got to be in the world of a salary cap. That's got to be one of them for sure. But I don't know what the rest are. I'm curious to see how you rank them. The chat is now.
That was the tough part, because the one that I like the most, I actually rank 5th. It's because you say it so infrequently that the people might not get it, but I really like it quite a bit. So, and there's some honorable mention stuff also.
Oh, good. I like that. I like that. There's an honorable mention. Hoosier saying Banner says muting himself daily. That's. Yeah, well,
having the fish, that's a good one also. I did not write that one down.
Yeah, which it disappoints me because I'm fairly certain we know each other somewhat well off air. I think you're an airplane guy. You're a fan of the movie Airplane.
Huge fan.
I would imagine you like that reference. But
I do.
Yeah. Well,
I did not do the body parts or having the fish.
Oh yeah, Michael's saying hopefully nobody blames me for promoting Rainmakers. For the record, I never promoted Rainmakers. I
don't know. I don't know if that's true, Dean. I don't know.
Top Shots. If you want to say I promoted Top Shots, you can. Really,
all right, that's true.
Rainmakers. I never dabbled in Rainmakers, but I do have a. I have some ridiculous NFT. I have a. You ever seen the movie Saw? You've seen Saw before. I have like a Saw NFT from the DraftKings.
Wow.
I don't know what to do with this nonsense. I don't know how to. If I'm just stuck with it.
You might have a problem. You might have a problem, Dean.
You know anybody who's a big Saw guy? Hit me up. Yeah. Oh boy. We made some terrible decisions a couple years ago. These things
I did not buy one NFT or Rainmaker, thankfully.
I didn't buy any Rainmakers, but I did have like a Wayne Gretzky something. I got some Wayne Gretzky things. I don't know what they call them. And maybe a Derek Jeter as well. And I don't even like Derek Jeter. I don't know why I bought a Derek Jeter, but I did. But it's available for purchase somehow. I'm not sure. Slide into my DMs. It's all nonsense. Brian says, cut the crap. What is the optimal lineup? Has anybody ever hit the optimal lineup in baseball? Has that ever happened before? Like on like a 10-game slate? It's never happened, right? 10-gamer? It's impossible.
I don't know. I know the blitz has hit like huge in football before the optimal on the blitz, but not sure about baseball.
By the way, we do have an eye on the Twitter machine because, of course, today is the trade deadline. Still 52 minutes if you want to get all precise and technical. Waiting for some trades to go down. Nothing terribly interesting today. Marlins traded their key arm in the bullpen to San Diego. They got a pretty good prospect in Snelling back. Who else? Oh, Paul DeYoung just has to change dugouts. He's on the White Sox now. Now he's on Kansas City. Just walk across. I don't know if that means he can play tonight. There's probably some sort of mechanics that maybe you can't play instantly, but he was traded to the team he was playing against this evening. Not a lot. So Joe Ross is officially starting for Milwaukee as much as they don't want to start him, I don't think. Some bullpen arms get moved around. Garrett Cole's got general body fatigue, so he's not playing baseball tonight. Not in our slate, but just wanted to I mean, Tim, if that was a prerequisite, I wouldn't be on this show. I got general body fatigue. I'm working. About throwing baseball 100 miles per hour. Just gotta keep an eye on seeing and some other players like Alex Cobb, who got traded. I didn't know he was still in baseball.
I didn't even know Alex Cobb was still around. I thought he was just done.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
He's a Guardian. So Christian Walker, by the way, we kind of speculated this last night on the morning grind. I filled in. I was a last minute fill in last night on the morning grind. That was fun. I got to play role of analyst, which I never get to do. Did enjoy that with Keith. Walker left last night's game with an oblique, and he's officially on the IL. So he would have been an awesome play against Patrick Corbin today, but unfortunately, cross him off the list. He's not playing baseball tonight. All right. Yeah, let's see if any more news kind of trickles in. I imagine we'll get some things to keep an eye on. Soler is not in the Atlanta lineup, which is not terribly surprising. He was traded kind of in the middle of the night, around 11 o'clock or so last night. He's going back to Atlanta, where he's had a lot of success in a small sample. Good for Atlanta to kind of sort of somewhat go for it, despite they're without some of their best players. Crochet traded to the Phillies. Is that real? That's a big deal if that's real. Huh. I don't see it. I'm on the Twitter. Maybe it's going to pop up in a second or so. Can we get a source there, Battle Bump God, in the chat? That would be really interesting.
Don Easy says last night's morning grind episode was great, Dean.
Yes.
So great job, Dean.
There's a huge rating spike. Huge rating. I'm not going to say the reason why. I can't tell you. But he's Bump God's just trolling. Okay.
He's just trolling. At least he admits it.
Okay. Fair enough. Maybe he's trying to will it. But yeah, you think Crochet might get a move on, but we'll see. Still about an hour or so. But what do we care about? I'm going to try to work in as many Deanisms as possible now, like challenges, to see if I can work them all in throughout the show. I'm going to need some help in the chat. We care about tonight and tonight only. This is DFS. It stands for Daily Fantasy Sports. So even if Crochet does get traded, how does that affect our conversation? It doesn't. It's just an interesting note, I suppose. It is an 11 gamer this evening, Tim. Again, we still might get some stuff as far as like players in, players out, on the move. A little bit different when it comes to lineups this evening. Popular pitchers are going to be, Robbie Ray. The Robbie Ray rule isn't in effect, but he's facing an Oakland team, which, by the way, shouldn't they be trading Rooker? How has that not happened yet? It seems like it's never a better time to trade him. Sell as high as possible, but maybe that's not going to happen.
I read something that they were like very, very reluctant to trade him.
Why?
I don't know, but I mean, that's what the article said.
He's like, did you just read? Hold on, you just read the headline. You did not read the article. Admit it. Fess up. You did not read the body.
I did not read the body. No.
So you didn't read an article.
Actually,
you read a headline.
Actually, no. I'm pretty sure I saw this on SportsCenter.
Oh, you watch SportsCenter?
I do.
Shout out to you. All right. Yeah, I don't. He's like 29, right? Maybe close to 30, and he's having a career year, obviously. And I just don't think you're ever going to get more value than right now. And of course, Oakland's not one or two players away from competing, and theoretically, they're going to be outside of after Sacramento. They're going to be in Vegas or somewhere where they're going to want some fresh young talent to market. Anyways, so I thought that he might be on the move, which would make Robbie Ray's life a little bit easier this evening. 44% currently as far as Robbie Ray. Hunter Brown, 36%. Glasnow, 20%. The cheapie Canning, who stinks, but he's facing the Rockies, who might stink more. It's kind of, sort of, somewhat clear. As far as the offenses, I don't think there's a clear-cut, like, top offense. I was surprised that Seattle wasn't getting the love that I was expecting. Maybe that'll change as the day was progressing. But, yeah, curious how you see this slate. 11 games, but I think, again, the pitching is pretty clear as far as what we want. By the way, I want to throw this out as well. It's Tuesday, which means it's Tournaments Tuesday, which means you can win yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. Just participate in the very, very free, very free. It's just free. It's a free contest that we dropped in the Discord, rotogrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel. Producer Devin dropped it there, and it's a DraftKings contest. You finish first, you get a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, CSGO, everything with the exception of NASCAR. By the way, preseason football around the corner. That's coming soon. And I'm told that's really profitable. I'm told there's a lot of donkeys who play players that aren't, like, not even actually wearing uniforms. There's definitely some edge to be had in preseason NFL. But yeah, one catch. There's one catch as far as playing that contest, winning that contest tonight. You got to play at least one pitcher. DraftKings, 7K or under. You got to play one pitcher, 7K or under. Yes, Devin made this one free. Okay. I thought for sure. Yeah, Don Yeezy's telling us the link is in the Discord. Yeah, it is a free contest. Finish first. You get a week free of RG Premium. Do it while wearing the RG badge, the RotoGrinders badge. Get 2 weeks. 2 weeks free. There you go. Doesn't cost you a thing. Tim, give me the screenshot. How do we feel about tonight's slate? De La Cruz to the Pirates. Is that Brian De La Cruz? Which De La Cruz is that?
It's Brian.
Okay. Get excited, Pittsburgh.
Did you say you don't think Seattle's gonna be popular?
I was surprised. You know what? Dave didn't have him that high in its rankings for stacks. Cheese is good. You're aware of Dave Potts? 2-time millionaire winner.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised he didn't have them like higher. So that's one person's opinion. But
it says the Mariners are my top stack.
Hold on a second. But he has in the stack rankings, he has them like 7th or 8th.
Well, in his article, it says the Mariners are my top stack.
Well, you know what? There is a discrepancy somewhere.
Oh no. No. You're right. Squirrel said the Mariners are my top stack. So it's Squirrel that's saying that Seattle is his top stack. And they're gonna be super popular too. Like 4 out of the top 10 most popular players are gonna be from Seattle, according to projected ownership. So
okay,
Seattle's gonna be extremely chalky. It's all Seattle and all Arizona in terms of ownership when it comes to hitting. I mean, tons of ownership going between Arizona and Seattle right now. You throw in a couple KC bats, and that's the majority of your ownership right now. So it's incredibly easy to get different if you choose to do that. Don Easy had a question in chat very early on in the show, like, are we going to play Chop Mariners against Paxton? I mean, it's really hard not to. I mean, he's just Paxton is just so horrible. I think he's got like a 16% K rate on the season, which is the Mariners' big weakness, is that they strike out a ton. But against Paxton, I don't have to worry about that so much. Against righties, Paxton has a 14% walk rate this season. So he's gonna be facing, I think, nine righties. So I mean, it's an amazing spot for the Mariners tonight, and so I mean, I'm inclined to play them, but you have to be, if you do play them, you're gonna have to be really careful about what you do with pitching, because you have to get off some aggregate ownership if you're gonna play this very, very popular Seattle team.
Yeah, it's funny. We love picking on Seattle, but tonight they're going to be popular. Of course, the ballpark jump to Boston is beneficial, as well as locked in for 9 innings. And, of course, the opponent, the Big Maple. I guess they don't call him that anymore, right? But the former Seattle Mariner, for some reason, Boston saw something in him. He wasn't good for Boston a couple of years ago, I don't think. And he's obviously been worse, and they picked him up off the the Dodgers DFA'd him. They basically got him for free, essentially for, I don't know, some sort of prospect. Or I use that term usually, not all prospects are created equal. But they did pick up Paxton. In his first start, it was an instant revenge game against the Dodgers. He was pretty good by his standards. And now he's got another revenge game against his old team where he was actually good, 7 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, I like the Mariners a good bit. I did pull up. So myself, Kirkwood, Squirrel Patrol, Dave Potts, we have to rank, our 5 favorite stacks. And 3 of the 4 of us did rank Seattle. 2 of us ranked Seattle in the top 2. And I guess Dave, he'll be on later. And I guess he'll discuss Seattle in the entire slate a little bit more, give you his thoughts on it. Not more importantly, but as far as the conversation right now, pitching, right? Robbie Ray, first game back, was spectacular. The full Robbie Ray experience, 5 innings. The pants were super tight. I don't know if you saw that. His pants are just as tight as they used to be. 42% Ks, small sample, yada, yada. 23% swinging strikes, just really goofy numbers. Again, this stuff not sustainable. Just thought it was interesting. But he also walked too many guys, over 10%. Again, small sample. Barrel rate too high at 14% when the ball was actually getting hit. But he's facing Oakland, and he's still pretty cheap. And, if it's the old Robbie Ray, he's probably too cheap. He should probably be 9.5, 10K. But, it's been a while since you've seen that guy. He was good in the minors the last couple starts. He was good against the Dodgers and good for him. And he's facing Oakland in the cavernous ballpark. But the old Robbie Ray rule was you're supposed to play him when he's not popular and fade him when he is. And tonight he's gonna be popular. But also there's not a lot of great pivots. So I think I'm playing him. How do you feel about Ray? Just pitching in general.
Yeah, so when I was talking about projected ownership for hitting, it's I really don't want people to be loading up on Seattle and KC and then throwing in Robbie Ray. Then you're playing a cash game. You're probably not going to win a large field GPP by going that route. Is Robbie Ray a good or bad play? Chances are he's probably a really, really strong play, but he's going to be extremely highly owned. So I think you have to get off some ownership somewhere. So if you want to get a different offensive stack, say somebody, a team like Texas or a team like, Atlanta perhaps, or the Cubs, then I'd be much more likely to say, yeah, play Robbie Ray, that would be fine. But loading up on Seattle and, playing Robbie Ray, that's just a ton of ownership. So, obviously it's an amazing matchup. I'm going to be playing him in cash games. But, just loading up on all the chalk in baseball is not something I'm necessarily a fan of.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm going to get different. We both kind of we play in the same streets, and that, we're talking about single entry stuff, 3-entry max stuff. And we focus our lineups mostly with, 500 people, 500 entries in the contest, as opposed to 30,000. So it's a different build. It's a different way to attack. So I don't know how much different we have to be, but also the popular stuff like Robbie Ray, who's currently projected to be 44% owned right now in DK. That's for large field. In single entry and 3-entry max contests, 60%, 65%. Is that fair to say, Tim?
Yeah. I think he's going to be approaching 60%, let's say, in that 121 single entry.
Mm-hmm. And maybe we shouldn't play him. I don't know. I'm still deciding.
I think it's really deciding on what you're going to do with bats is the question. I just, I've said over and over again, I would not play Robbie Ray with a bunch of chalk bats. I think that's just too much ownership. But if you want to get crazy and go with a very, very low owned stack, I think you can play Ray still, even if he's going to be 60% in a single entry contest.
I'm trying to think of different ways to play him or different ways to play Seattle. You mentioned 9 righties for Seattle tonight. Robles, Rosarena, Raleigh, Justin Turner's in the lineup. Newly acquired Justin Turner. They're also cheap too, which is the other part of it. They're really cheap, Seattle, with no J-Rod, no Crawford as well. They're so easy to play. Like you said, projections are going to hammer them. And they have about one of the highest totals on the board, if not the highest, at 5.5. Is Kansas City higher? Kansas City's 5.3. Maybe playing Garver instead of Raleigh in your stack is a little bit different. You only play one of these catchers. I think that's one thing you can do. Historically, Garver, has smashed lefties. We love the big dumper plenty, obviously, but that might be one way to be different. Is that just a thought? Playing Haniger is also really cheap. Just trying to think of lineup construction in general. And I'm open. Keith was very mad at me. Besmirched. He gave me the disappointing head nod, running 3-3-2s as opposed to 5-3s. You just can't do that. And that's something you're not allowed to do in the streets. I get it. I hear you. But I'm thinking about winning and beating 400 people and not 30,000. Is that something you ever do or not really? Do you have hard and fast rules in that?
What, not play 3-3-2s?
Yeah, I mean, do you have a hard and fast rule where it's got to be 5-3 or it's got to be 4-4 or you're open to a 3-3-2 type build?
I am very, very, very rarely open to a 3-3-2 build in a large field GPP.
No. I'm talking about 500 to 1,000 people.
Oh, even then, no.
So you added the qualifier to make me feel better, but now I feel bad that I'm doing things wrong, apparently, according to Tim. All right, fair enough. Let us know if there's any trades going on, by the way. I'm trying to bounce back and forth and see. Yeah, De La Cruz traded to the Pirates for, I don't know who these guys are, Shim and Garrett Forrester, but I'm not a total savant when it comes to every prospect. Probably not much. I'm guessing not much. All right. Beyond, so the other options as far as pitcher, Hunter Brown taking on Pittsburgh. Tyler Glasnow taking on San Diego. Glasnow has not looked fully sharp of late. Came back off the IL. Still pretty big asking price. San Diego, no Tatis, but there's still some professional hitters in that lineup. They make a fair bit of contact as well. If you're not playing Ray, what is the strategy as far as tonight?
Yeah, if you're not playing Ray, I think you're probably going to be playing Hunter Brown. And then I would probably skip over Glasnow and go down to probably I'm considering David Festa. We have several tags on Griffin Canning. Makes me a little bit nervous that he's going to get steamed up in terms of ownership. Makes me a little bit nervous. I'm also considering Max Scherzer also at 8,500. Glasnow's okay. Obviously he's the best raw talent on the slate. It's just a horrible matchup for strikeouts. So I'm not very, very high on Glasnow at all. This is a pretty tough lineup, and we know that his leash can get pretty short. So I don't really want to pay 10,000 for Glasnow in this matchup.
Pulling up the plate IQ here as far as a matchup against San Diego. No official lineup. This is a West Coast game. Lineup's not out just yet, but it's really, really green as far as the contact stuff, right? As far as striking out, a rise 2.5% Ks against righties this year. That's just a wild number. Doesn't walk 3.5%, but 2.5% Ks is just an incredible contact. Profar 16%, Cronenworth 17, Machado 21, Bogarts 20. Merrill 20, Peralta 20, 18% for Kim. Higashioka, the only one in the red at 28%. It doesn't mean Glasnow can't overcome it, but it also, to me, means he probably doesn't rack up 8 or 9 or 10. I guess he can get, it's not a number you really, really want if you're spending 10K. He's in the pool for me.
He's got a 5.5 K prop, which is not really good at all for 10,000.
Is the juice on the over? You got to pay juice on the over or the under? I'm guessing I'm
just looking at Play IQ right now. I can pull it up on a sports book real quick.
Yeah. Let's see. On Lineup HQ, I think it's going to have that kind of number for us. Yeah. So it's minus 145. Yeah. So minus 145 on. I presume that's on the over. So, yeah. I was looking at the bat projections, individual projections as far as strikeouts, and Ray was the one, at least earlier today, this stuff changes, that had the highest K projection. 7.16 for Ray, 6.37 for Brown. These are median projections, obviously. 6.11 for Glasnow. So it has him beating that, but I don't want to lay minus 145. Is that what you're seeing right now? What, minus 145 basically?
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of want to avoid that. Speaking of bets, by the way, squad ride. I am in charge of it. I picked today's squad ride pick, and I followed SDL Cards. SDL Cards dominated me yesterday, so we got the Cubbies. The Cubbies to just win. No run line, no nonsense. We bet the Cubs. Justin Steele. Do like Justin Steele a fair bit. I don't think he's going to get much ownership tonight. Tough ballpark, obviously. We're looking at 8%, 8.8K. I think he's an interesting pivot. If you're looking for pivots off of guys like Hunter Brown, I see Eric in chat asking about Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo, pretty dramatic splits. Tough ballpark as well, but a really good pitcher. He's not going to be owned. I think he's interesting for tournaments as well. Thoughts as far as Steele or Castillo, both in the single digits currently. If you had to pick one of those two, who would you pick as your pitcher tonight, Steele or Castillo?
Well, Scherzer's currently in the single digits also. So I would pick Scherzer first.
That's surprising. Isn't it?
What is?
I thought Scherzer would be like in the teens. I don't know. I'm not, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but I didn't think he would. I thought he'd be a little bit more owned than that.
Well, if you're in that if you're in that price range, you're going Ray or Brown.
Yeah. About 9-10% for Max. Do we have St. Louis's lineup? IKF, by the way, traded to the Pirates. Pirates fans having themselves a day. You got IKF and you got De La Cruz. So shout out to the Pirates. They're going for it.
We do not have the Cardinals lineup.
Did Tim get new glasses? Mr. Irrelevant says new glasses. Not me. Did you get new glasses? I need new glasses though.
I did not. No.
All right. So now they're one of us. Neither one of us got new glasses. Why do I look different? I don't know. I'm not really sure. My hair was wet maybe 5 minutes before the show started. It's possible yet.
Are you using hair product, Dean?
No, I don't really use anything. I just use water. Like, yeah, I don't use the gel or nothing.
I don't know if I believe that, but
no, this is no performance enhancers. This is all natural, man. Yeah, no hems. I don't know what else is out there. That of course I get I'm in the demographic where I definitely I see those ads. They certainly fire my way. But yeah, that's just legit. That's what it is. Derek Hardy has a hair system he's talked about before, which I have a lot of questions. I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe that's part of the bat and the blitz. So give you a breakdown as far as maybe like a promo code of some sort. All right. I got thrown off there. My apologies. But yeah, Scherzer, he's 40 now. I'm an ageist. I'm not sure he quite has it anymore.
I forgot you hate old people. That's right.
He probably takes Hims. For all we know. He's probably got a better billionaire version of that I'm not even aware it exists. But he's fine. The ballpark is fine.
I do for what it's worth though. I do like Luis Castillo as a tournament pick at like 5.
That's what I was asking. Yeah,
I
gave me a secret door C.
But I like Scherzer more, and I'm not really that high on Steele like in Cincinnati. Like I know Steele's a really good real life pitcher, but I don't really like going into that ballpark.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Generally speaking, I do not like the roster pitchers in Cincinnati. Pretty contact heavy lineup as well for the Reds. Outside of De La Cruz, 28% Ks. Of course, when he hits the ball, he's really scary as well, especially when he gets on base. He'll swipe a bag or two and just annoying if you're the opposing pitcher. But should Dean grow out his hair as what producer Steve is asking? No, I don't think it looks. No, it's already at the point where I have to cut it. I believe. I don't know what do you think I can do with this? Steve? Like I got like a mullet. Maybe I can pull off whatever the dude for the Braves was rocking yesterday. I only wish I could rock that kind of a
mullet, or it would be funny to see a mohawk.
Oh my gosh, I've never been so bold to rock either the mullet or the mohawk. I probably had like an accidental like bootleg mullet when I was a kid. Maybe I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I don't think it. You ever rock one of those, Tim? What's the goofiest hairstyle you ever? I say goofy in a positive way, but And anything?
When I was a kid, I dyed my hair all different kinds of colors because I loved Dennis Rodman.
Really? Okay.
That's the truth. Yep.
Did you keep up with him because he was changing all the time? Like you just whatever he did, you did.
That's what I did. Yep.
Were you a Pistons fan, a Bulls fan, or you just thought Rodman was fun?
I loved Rodman. Yeah, I was a huge Rodman fan growing up.
Okay, fair enough. He went on to wrestling. He would skip practice for wrestling. You remember this? He ditched the Bulls. Like, I'm gonna go wrestle with Hulk Hogan.
I think he did a lot of stuff. I think he did a lot of stuff other than going to practice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you watch the what was the documentary? Basically, yeah. I'm gonna take a week off and just go to Vegas. I don't want to play basketball this week. And he got away with it because he was a great rebounder in his time. There you go. We're gonna bring back the stash. Oh boy, that's not a look. People are asking about. What do you do?
I'll do a handlebar mustache, Dean. If you bring out a mullet,
can you do a hand? I guess you can. You can connect it and everything.
Oh yeah.
Like Raleigh finger style. Like with the is that where you kind of
no. Like a biker stash, Dean.
What is that, like Rod Beck? I'm trying to think who has that look today. When you say handlebar, is it like an upside down U? Is that a handlebar?
Basically,
okay.
Yeah.
What's the one where you twirl the sides? What's that called? I thought that was called the handlebar mustache. Is that not called the handlebar mustache?
I do not think so. Yeah, Rod Beck's kind of got a handlebar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Chat, let me know what. What is that called? What's that called where you spin the sides? I've always been jealous. I haven't had the ability to grow that out. Unfortunately, I cannot. I'm not masculine enough to make that work. Maybe I should take some Hims. Is there a Hims for that to get a handlebar mustache? Okay. You mentioned Griffin Canning. The chat's throwing out some options of what they.
I know the chat's pretty awesome right now.
Well, Kirkwood's saying chin strap. No, I don't think it's not a chin strap. That's a Fu Manchu. Yeah, I thought a Fu Manchu was the upside down U. Maybe I'm wrong. This is not my wheelhouse. Griffin Canning, you've mentioned him. I don't want to play kind of, sort of, so much hockey. Griffin Canning, I know he's facing the Rockies and they're terrible, but Canning's kind of terrible too. And like you said, Festa. Do you like Festa more than Canning? They're essentially the same ownership, but I'm surprised. I thought Canning would be a little bit more popular. I know Festa's cheaper. Just prefer to pick on if I'm going to roll with one of these cheap arms. I want to pick on the Rockies as opposed to the Mets. Why do you like Festa more than Canning? That's what it sounded like, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a better matchup for Canning. I just think that the ownership between those two is going to separate. Right now, it's Canning at 14, Festa at 13, but I think Canning's goes up if anything. So I think Festa has way better strikeout stuff than Canning. It's not even close. I know it's not a good strikeout matchup, but he's only 6K. I don't know. I just think Canning's going to get a little bit popular tonight. So I was kind of looking at some Rockies for like home run bets or even like a mini stack and DFS.
What'd you come up with?
Right, I know. It's so ugly. Ryan McMahon, I considered at plus 425, but I didn't quite pull the trigger. So, but I don't mind Ryan McMahon for DFS at 4,200. I think he's pretty good to play. So, I don't know. I just think Festa has way better K stuff than Canning. So, I think I'd just rather play Festa over Canning.
Small sample this year. Festa 14 innings, 22.7% as far as Ks. A swing and strike 11.2%. Canning is 16.3%, the lowest K rate on the slate. Now he does have a 10% swing and strike rate, so that suggests he's probably been a little bit unlucky as far as strikeouts. But 16.3%. That's lower than Paxton at 16.4 and Ryan Nelson at 16.4. By the way, that's called an imperial mustache, which is, oh my God, I just Googled it. That's an incredible name. The thing with the you twirl at the ends. That's what I want. I'm going to ask for that for my birthday next time. An imperial
I do want to just add that Festa was a 35% K pitcher in AAA.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I do want to just I don't want you to just completely besmirch me like that.
I didn't besmirch. No, I was kind of with you. I think if you're going to pick one of those two, you're going to force me to pick one of those two, I would take Festa. I don't like the opponent, but the ballpark's good, right? I don't really want to pick on the Mets, but I just kind of think Canning stinks. And I know it's not like analysis, but I know the Rockies stink too. So it's stink versus stink. By the way, shout out to producer Steve. I don't know if he's excited about this or not, but the Knicks they signed Precious Achua to a 1-year deal, $6 million. So there you go. I know it's not a basketball show. We're looking at the trade deadline stuff, but there you go. I've been told. I guess he's the view versus like ratio. Oh, what is the like rate ratio? I don't know what it is. I don't have it up right now, but yeah, I don't like the beg or grovel, but come on, let's hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Do all that. Does not cost you a thing. It is much appreciated. The more likes we get, the more taters that Tim's going to unleash for the people. I think when you pick your taters, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, these are taters you're actually betting. Like you're to give up the number. You're actually literally betting. You're not just throwing out names all willy-nilly. You're putting American dollars behind it.
Very, very little American dollars, but yes, I try not to go broke chasing taters, but I do actually bet them. Yes.
I see it's Dinger Tuesday, which I don't have access to the FanDuel Sportsbook where I'm at right now, just not my state. But I remember that was a thing when I was out of states, and I think they give you there's some sort of perk as to why you play Dinger Tuesday. Maybe they reimburse you. I don't recall what it is, but people in chat were talking about Dinger Tuesday on FanDuel. So if there is a day to do it, play it on Tuesday and play on FanDuel because there is an additional perk to go ahead and play. Getting a refresh here as far as ownership. We did get a new batch about 15 minutes ago, but nothing really significant. We didn't really touch on Hunter Brown. We kind of mentioned him in passing. Where do you have Hunter Brown as far as your favorite pitchers tonight?
I think he's the clear SB2 in cash. Ray's the SB1. I think Ray and Brown are definitely your cash pairing. They can be your single entry pairing also. Just know that they're going to be very, very popular. So playing accordingly with your stacks. But Brown's in a fantastic spot. I love the spot for him. He should be able to pay off that price tag very easily. So I have no issue with Brown at all.
Yeah. Don Easy saying, how are we just touching on Hunter Brown? Yeah, I felt like we kind of didn't focus on him enough, and I wanted to make sure we highlighted him as being really popular. And I think it's justified too, the popularity. In this Pittsburgh lineup, do we not have one yet? Because they had a couple players get hurt yesterday. Bay got hurt yesterday. I'm guessing he's not going to play. Anthony Rendon, by the way, returns to the injured list. I'm sure he's devastated he can't play baseball tonight. I'm sure he's.
I bet he's very, very sad. Yeah, we have no Pirates.
So maybe Pittsburgh lineup is getting held up because of some potential injury stuff and maybe trade deadline stuff. Who knows? I thought Bellinger was a guy that might get traded. Possibly he's in the Chicago lineup tonight. It was a little weird that he was activated from the IL yesterday, but didn't play. Like he didn't start, but they activated him. He was just
I thought that was weird. I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand it either. But it's like I guess in a pinch they could have used him, but it was like a 7-1 game where the game was never really close, so they really saw no reason to activate him. No St. Louis lineup just yet. No Pittsburgh lineup just yet. No KC in Chicago. We mentioned DeYoung from Chicago getting traded to Kansas City tonight's opponent, but I'm guessing he won't be available to play, even though he's in the building. I don't know how that works, but I would imagine there's some physicals involved and probably some paperwork, so probably not available tonight. No Washington. We saw yesterday they traded Lane Thomas, so their lineup is certainly taking a big hit. Like Blankenhorn, Lipscomb, Garcia, Harold Ramirez all projected to be in there. The speedster young. No Dodgers, no San Diego, no San Fran, no Oakland. Still kind of sort of waiting for Rooker to get traded, but I guess based upon your Sports Center watching, you're telling us that it's probably not going to happen, which is
they said that they were reluctant to trade him.
Well, yeah, because he's their best player, but like, okay, they have to say that because like
I think they want a big haul for him.
Yeah, I mean, get what you can get because this is the apex of what you can get for him, though. I think the Rays said they were reluctant to trade 9 players too, but they did it. You're supposed to say that, I think you're just put for PR reasons, if nothing else. All right. You want to give me a, oh, you know what? Several people in chat asked about Waka. Okay, speaking of, I was going to say mediocre. Waka is like perfectly average. It's a perfectly average pitcher, but he has the benefit of facing the White Sox, who already lost to Young. They might lose somebody else. Who knows? We'll see. But give me your thoughts as far as Waka tonight.
He's absolutely fine in a like 20 max or 150 setting. He would not make a 3 max or single entry build for me. I still prefer Scherzer for I believe it's $200 less. I almost prefer Castillo just due to the ownership because Walk is going to be 10%. Castillo is going to be under 5%. So I think Waka for me kind of gets a little bit squeezed out. I'd almost prefer Shamanaya for $800 less. So I know that it's the White Sox. I understand that. But Waka's only got a 4.5 strikeout prop. So it's not like this is like a high ceiling spot for him. So I would be out on him mostly outside of building like, I don't know, 15 or more teams.
I didn't realize that Boston was rolling out 6 lefties. And Castillo is not very good against lefties. 198 ISO, just a 17%, 17.7. I shouldn't cite him on the decimal point. 17.7% Ks versus lefties. Duran's a really good lefty. Yoshida, good contact hitter. Devers obviously is awesome. Dom Smith, not great, but fine, I suppose. I don't know. I think Castillo might get a slight little bump down. Not that I was like featuring him for my first lineup, but I thought he was in play. Just a slight little hit. And again, the ballpark shift as well. I might have Castillo lower than Max now, which I didn't want to do, but yeah, you convinced me. And this
Max is number 3 for me.
Yeah, he's fine. By the way, weather, should note this. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat. We have a Baltimore stuff. That's not for our slate, but you can read about it. Roth wrote a ton about St. Louis. Apparently there's some discrepancy amongst some of the stuff he's looking at, but he currently has it at yellow, green, yellow for the Mets game, green in Cincinnati, green in Boston. I'll go ahead and drop this in chat. Reminder, once again, by the way, you can get a week free of RG Premium just by playing today's Tournament Tuesday. The link is in the Discord. Does not cost you anything. Wear the RG badge. You get yourself 2 weeks. 2 weeks free of RG Premium. Or you can just go ahead and buy it. You can do that too. Get yourself.
Eloy traded.
There we go.
Eloy traded
Where's he
to
going?
the Orioles.
Oh, is that the best ballpark for him? I feel like that's a bad ballpark for him with what left field is going on there. But okay, interesting. So, do we have a Chicago lineup? We're going to cross them out, or we never got a Chicago lineup?
Never got one. We never got one. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to see like Senzel batting cleanup or something like that.
That's a boost. That's a boost for Waka after I just said no to Waka.
Yeah, and still we might get something else.
Right.
I don't know what Luis Roberts' contract situation is. I figured he'd be somebody they can move. And if anybody wants Gavin Sheets, he's probably available too. I don't know if anybody wants him. But yeah, interesting stuff. To monitor as we still have 15 minutes or so. How do we feel about Eloy in Baltimore? I feel like they already have those kind of guys, like better versions, like Mountcastle. Am I wrong to say that?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the best spot for him. Seems kind of like a pretty odd trade.
Doesn't Baltimore need like a pitcher? I don't get it. I'm confused.
Didn't they get a pitcher?
What did they get?
Well, they had I can't remember now. I was just looking at it.
I'm not sure. All right.
Yeah, didn't they get Trevor Richards? No.
From somebody got Trevor Richards. Yeah, but okay.
It was Baltimore.
I kind of like Trevor Richards, but is this something we're getting excited about? We do have an A's lineup, by the way. Butler, Andujar, Rooker, Langoliers, Cameron, Nevin, Geloff, Harris, and Schumann. So that is their lineup, and I guess they're not trading anybody. Of course, this stuff is subject to change. Still 15 minutes or so. Got to see if Oh, Eflin. There you go. Fernando Rodney. Zach. They got Zach Eflin, who's a real life pitcher. Not like elite, but he's perfectly fine and usable. Okay. Give me the summary, Tim, as far as pitchers. Anything else we should note before we start talking about some stacks and some Deanisms?
Yeah, so Ray and Brown are the clear cash pairing. And then I would go Scherzer. I would go probably go with where'd he go? Not Canning. David Festa as my cheap player, cheap pitcher. He's got Bill Miller as his umpire, which gives me interest in Mania also. So I don't mind Mania. And if you want to pay up to be different to get off of Brown, I do like Luis Castillo as my pay up to get different option.
Don wants to know what 2 pitchers for 1 entry game. So I guess a single entry game. Do you know who you're rostering in your single entry as far as your pitchers?
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I am going to play Robbie Ray. It's either going to be Brown, Scherzer, or Festa. Probably not going to be Brown. I'm probably just going to reserve him for cash. I might just go David Festa and Robbie Ray.
You mentioned the extremes as far as the umpires. Extreme hitters umpire for Waka, extreme hitters umpire for Cannon, for Justin Steele, and for the dude throwing baseballs for Cincinnati. Extreme pitchers umpire for Lance Lynn, Festa, like you mentioned, Bill Miller, Shamanaya, and Max Scherzer. So Mad Max as an extreme pitchers lineup as well. We're now projecting Dominic Fletcher to crack that Chicago lineup for what it's worth in lieu of the Eloy trade. Trying to keep an eye on, see if any other news breaks as the show continues. We did get a San Diego lineup: Arise, Profar, Cronenworth, Machado, Bogarts, Merrill, Peralta, Kim, and Higashioka. So I think that is what we had projected. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, really, really contact heavy lineup. All right. Going to do stacks as well in just a second. I didn't really finish the read, by the way. I did want to mention, if you want to buy yourself some RG Premium, all the fancy tools that producer Steve is showing off, Dave's article, the expert rankings, the expert survey, the Squirrel's got the hitting the nuts that came out today. You get all the sports. 6 months. Commit to 6 months. You get $250 off the regular price. You want to commit to just 1 month, you get yourself $40 off the first month. Links are in the description. Commit to 3 days. It's $19 and change. Kevin Roth will tell you later on the things he gets for less than 3 days of RG Premium. Okay, we're going to do stacks. Before we do stacks, we got to fix the board. You set the board. You threw it over to producer Steve. I've not yet seen it just yet. For those that are just joining, you created the board for Deanisms. So, again, remind the people what it is and explain the board as the chat tells us what Deanisms should be on the board.
Yeah, so I went with the chalk. Have to get all technical for my number 1 Deanism. I'm still waiting for Steve to put it up on the screen here, if he could.
Give him a second.
Yeah,
here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Steve. If you want to get all technical, is my top chalk Deanism. Obviously, that's pretty easy. When he gets on his soapbox and says, "We live in a society," I really like that one. No idea what he's talking about, but I like that one.
It's an homage to George Costanza. You don't know this homage?
Yeah. But
So, we live in a society.
Right.
No.
Right. Yeah, and then the steady play 10% of everyone.
That's a nonsense. I'm sorry. I'll recuse myself. But that's a nonsense one. But go ahead.
This is my listing. Okay.
It's your list.
It's my list. All right. Yeah. We live in a world of salary cap. Pretty simple, easy, pretty basic. And then my personal favorite one that you seldom say, but you do it so casually. You say, "We got sidetracked," but it's you, Dean. You got sidetracked. We didn't get sidetracked. You did. So,
I drag you down with me. This is a team effort. It's a team show, Tim. So
no.
If I get sidetracked, you get sidetracked.
Right. Yeah.
You could take the wheel.
You
and say,
got
"Listen, Dean,
sidetracked.
enough of this."
All right.
You have access to GPS too. You can get us back on the right track. You know, you're an accomplice. You're guilty by
I say
association.
I'd say basically nothing.
Well, thanks for adding to the You're a sounding board, if nothing
I
else.
And then you have the audacity to say we got sidetracked. So
yeah, you wanted to talk about Dennis Rodman and wrestling with Hulk Hogan. Why'd you want to do that?
I can assure you I did not, Dean. I can assure you.
Who brought up Dennis Rodman?
Well, you asked me about dyeing my hair or stuff to do with my hair, so I don't know. We got sidetracked, Dean.
We got sidetracked talking about who gets us sidetracked. Hammer saying it's high and tight. Yeah, that's a Dean.
There's so many I could have gone through, but there's a lot going on.
What was honorable mention? You said you have honorable mention.
Besmirched, definitely, and mushes aren't real.
Mushes, okay, sure.
When they clearly are. So
we got to pick up the pace, Lucas. That's a good one. That's a basketball thing, but typically. But that's a good one right there. Let's see. I saw a couple more, and I'm kind of like I flew past them, so my apologies. By the way, flying armbar. We didn't go specific as far as FanDuel. Favorite pitcher, not a belly itcher for FanDuel. Is it similar? It's the same as far as tonight's favorite pitcher.
Yeah, Ray is still my pitcher. 9,300. I think that's a great price tag. Brown 9,800. He's fine too. Still out on glass now. He's 10-6. Still don't like that price tag. So I'd stick with Ray Brown. I think hypothetically you could play Festa on FanDuel at 6-6. So and just pay for all the bats that you want. So those would be my my three favorite.
Devin says his favorite Deanism is I hate old people so much. I don't remember ever saying that. I mean, that could be an ageist when it comes to rostering players in DFS, sure, but that doesn't, affect how I feel about them in general. Yeah.
Garrett Crochet will not be traded.
Yeah, I mean, they can always trade him. They don't have to trade. They have control the next couple of years, right? So they don't have to do it. But interesting. And also, I think part of that was Crochet's demands, right? Like he didn't want to. I think he didn't want to play in the bullpen. Like he basically wanted to be fully unleashed. Or no. His demand was he wanted to get signed. Like if you trade, he said basically if you trade for me, you got to give me a contract. Like
I think that was awesome that he did that.
I thought that was an interesting power move.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So maybe that was part of it. I don't know if that's the reason why, but they don't have to trade him right now. There's no urgency, but feels like a good time to do it, I think. But who am I to say? Okay. Going to go ahead and power rank our favorite teams from a stack perspective. Cubs, Cincinnati. That is the very first one we're going to talk about. Where do you have Chicago and the Reds?
Yeah, I would put the Reds. I don't know. They have such high ceiling, like every matchup. So not a great spot though. So I'd put them in the middle, play 10% of everyone, and then I would go Cubs. Pretty sneaky 4.7 total. Not going to be very chalky outside of like maybe Ian Happ. The bottom part of this lineup is going pretty low owned, and good total, great ballpark. 90 degrees in Cincinnati. I'd do exactly what Steve did and put them in We Live in This Society.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to use the chat or have to use producer Steve as like a tiebreaker if we need one. Kiermaier, by the way, traded to the Dodgers, like a defensive outfielder. I don't know, like a late game replacement or something. Does he still have a little bit of speed? Possibly. The bat, of course, not great. But just of note, Kevin Kiermaier going to LA.
Flaherty to the Dodgers.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one. That's I think that one matters. Matters. Yeah. I'm seeing that in the chat. I don't see it on the interwebs. Are you seeing it in both places?
I am, yeah. It's
there it is. Yeah, okay. He had to get moved, but all right. It's about time something goes right for the Dodgers. They get some some good talent. Just the rich get richer. That's just the way that goes, I suppose, with no salary cap. I like Chicago a good bit. I don't really like the Reds tonight, so I do like your ranking. I'm on board with that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. 10 games. Let's talk about Seattle and Boston. The Mariners revenge game for James Paxton taking on Luis Castillo. One of the bigger totals on the board. I believe we're going to get 10.5. Seattle, the slight favorite. Where do you have the Mariners and the Red Sox?
Yeah, you got to put the Mariners at the top if you want to get all technical. Ownership not considered. The only reason to fade them is ownership. So I have no faith in Paxton. They're an amazing stack. They get a huge ballpark upgrade, 5.4 total, huge walk rate for Paxton. So, I mean, obviously Seattle's going to be at the top. Boston, I know Castillo is not great against lefties. I don't have a ton of faith in them still. But they do have an over 5 total. So I think I have to pay attention to Vegas a little bit here and put them right in the middle.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I do agree. By the way, Fat Meat Greasy, one-off, Rooker or Shohei? I mean, not knowing anything else, I'm just taking Shohei. Just give me Shohei. Come on.
Yeah,
Rooker is good, but
I'd rather just go Shohei.
Yeah, that's
and we did get a question in chat about the Reds pitcher. Yeah, he's just like a opener projected to pitch 30 pitches. So nobody that we can play.
Yeah, is Martinez expected to come after him? Nick Martinez, is that who I saw he was like the expected pitcher earlier in the day.
That's what I believe is supposed to happen, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, and you never really know how that stuff goes. All right. So did you answer that? Is it Shohei, right? You take Shohei over Rooker? You have to.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't say you have to, but baseball, yada yada. But I think you're supposed to take Shohei. Basically, any 1v1, you're supposed to take Shohei. Minnesota versus producer Steve's Mets, Shamanaya facing off against David Festa. Good ballpark to be throwing baseballs. 8.5 total. Mets slight favorites here. Where do you have the Twins and the Metropolitans?
Yeah, so I really like both pitchers in this matchup, so that really is going to naturally hurt the stacks. So I have both of these teams in We Live in the World of a Salary Cap.
All right. I'm not going to fight you. I think the Mets may be in the middle, but I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to. You got to pick your spots. You got to pick your battles, and I'm going to move on. But I would not have been upset if you threw them in the middle either. I'm not really sure what Festa is. Like, small samples. I know he had a lot of Ks in the minors. I do this Mets offense is pretty interesting. Of course, this ballpark does stink. Texas, St. Louis, 8.5 total. Scherzer versus Lance Lynn. We do have the extreme pitchers umpire. No St. Louis lineup just yet, unless I missed it or it just came on through. Where do you have the Cardinals and the Rangers?
Cardinals are on the bottom for me. Like Max quite a bit tonight. I know his velocity is not what it used to be, but I still think he's a really solid pitcher. So Cardinals are at the bottom. Really love the Rangers lefties here. Love Josh Smith. Love Seager. Love Nathaniel Lowe. Jonah Heim. So definitely a fan of that. I am taking Josh Smith to hit a tater. He's I got him at plus 600 because I only have DK, but you can get him at plus 675 on BetMGM or plus 630 on FanDuel.
Taking a peek at Weather Edge, by the way, this is not on the slate, but Yankees, Philadelphia. You don't really see this in Philadelphia and a pretty big sample. 94 games, Tim. 94 games. Pretty big sample, right? 44.9% bump in homers, 29.4% bump in runs. 11 miles per hour as far as the winds, basically to center, left center, 82. I think, now I'm not a dew guy. I don't know. This is not my area of expertise. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, maybe you can touch on it. But 72 feels like a big dew number. It's got a 72 dew. Maybe that's what's going on there, but
that's a big dew.
That is an eye-popping number. 44.9% increase in homers and almost
that's why Kirkwood left the chat, because his computer is short-circuiting.
By the way, Dylan Carlson was just traded to the Rays. Was he in the St. Louis? Although we didn't have a St. Louis lineup, so he was just traded. Okay. The Rays actually got somebody back. They've been dumping everybody. Well, they got Christopher Morel as well. Dodgers traded away Lorenzo and Trey Sweeney. I think Lorenzo's a bigger prospect, but I'm not certain. But yeah, a couple of prospects there for Detroit. Prospects experts, let us know in the chat if that was a good deal for Detroit. I would imagine there was a fair bit of offers for Flaherty. Okay. Oh, there's a couple. Yeah. So positive weather, slightly positive in Boston. You do have the fire emoji in Cincinnati, but like it's pretty neutral as far as the history in 76 games. But it is 88 degrees, so it's going to be hot. It's also hot in St. Louis, 92 in the Lou. 10% bump in homers, 4% bump in runs. 78 previous games, pretty big sample. Neutral for the White Sox, neutral for the Angels. Pretty neutral for San Diego. Pretty neutral. Nothing really else of note. All right, about 15 minutes away from crunch time coming in. I believe it's Dave Potts. Cheese is good. Chief mineralogist Kevin Roth, of course. And I think it's Keith Eyster. Get the Eysters, Fleisters. All right, we have still plenty more games here to get to as I'm kind of bouncing around. All right, Kansas City and Chicago. Waka versus Cannon. We lost a couple White Sox today. Their lineup that was already bad got worse. No Eloy and no DeYoung. I don't think of a lineup just yet, but yeah, spoiler alert, it's not going to be good. Let's see. Luis Garcia was traded to the Red Sox. Don't really care about that. Is that the guy for Houston? Right-handed pitcher? Is there a different Luis Garcia? Not sure, but the Red Sox got somebody named. Is that who that is?
That's not who I thought it was, but
I'm not sure.
I think.
All right, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Doesn't matter. Kansas City, Chicago. What do you got?
Yeah, well, Kansas City is definitely top of the board for me. What can you say about Bobby Witt? Like, he's just amazing. He was 44% in the 121, absolutely smashed. Like, he is just so good. Love the stack for KC. They should be popular once again, but great prices. So I love these outfielders, Renfroe, Melendez, Isbell even. So yeah, love KC. I know I'm not really high on Waka, but you can't be high on the White Sox either. So I'm going to put them down at the bottom.
Yeah, that is where I'm at. Isbell, by the way, really quick hook last night. I think it's when they brought a lefty in. He only had 2 at bats out of the 9 hole. You know, I'm not really sure if we're going to see another lefty, but just pinch it alert. But he is super cheap. He's on the road, and theoretically he could hit 4 times. All right, Bailey Falter taking on Hunter Brown, the returning Bailey Falter. We're not going to roster him. Pirates taking on Houston. Houston almost a 5 total. A Falter kind of reverse splitsy, by the way. Not that you should be afraid of rostering Yordan Alvarez, but like especially don't be afraid of rostering Yordan Alvarez. They're going to be basically unowned, I think, Houston, just of note. Where do you have the Astros and the Pirates? No lineup just yet for Pittsburgh. They are made some trades, but yeah, I don't see a lineup just yet.
Yeah, Pirates down at the bottom. I think that's a pretty easy one. Hunter Brown should dominate this matchup. And then Houston, I don't think many people are going to roster them. So because of that reason, I'll put them in We Live in a Society. I think they'll be very, very, very low owned. And I think they make for a great stack in any format, any tournament size.
I like Houston as a pivot. Yeah. And like nobody's going to play him in single entry.
They have almost a 5 total. They have a 4.97 total or something like that.
They got some cheap options as well. Yeah, I can do Houston. Maybe like as a mini Houston or something like that. Maybe that's one way to be different if you're playing some Seattle stuff. You know, run them with Houston out there.
I mean, and I think they're decent pivots away from the cheap KC guys too, like the cheap KC outfielders, like go Myers,
Jake Myers
instead of Melendez or something
McCormick.
like that. Yeah.
Much as I don't like 9 hitters at home, I'm
actually surprised to see Yordan at 8%. I don't know if I'll get that high.
Well, I mean, he's a great, one-off, sure. But
right.
I don't know, like you said, people are probably not going to one-off him. And some people like the left-on-left stuff. But again, don't be afraid of that, especially not against Falter. Atlanta, Milwaukee, Joe Ross versus Bryce Elder. 8.5 feels a little bit low for these pitchers. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just 8.5 total for Joe Ross and Bryce Elder. I know there's some injuries on both sides. Atlanta did trade for Jorge Soler. He's not available just yet. No Yelich on Milwaukee. So these offenses are not at full strength, but Joe Ross and Bryce Elder, two pitchers I'm not afraid of. Pretty good hitting ballpark as well. Where do you have Atlanta and Milwaukee?
Yeah, I stacked Atlanta last night. I think I finished close to dead last in the 121.
Playing low ball?
Yeah, I did well in low ball. So definitely love going with the Ozuna, Olsen. I think Murphy's way too cheap, 3,100. Yeah, I really don't mind Atlanta. I don't mind going back. This Brewers lineup, man, it's like without Yelich, it just seems so like kind of watered down, but they do have some decent pieces. So I would put Milwaukee in the middle there on play 10% of everyone. And I guess, man, I don't know. I guess I'll just leave both of them there.
Yeah. All right. By the way, we're getting pretty symmetrical here as far as the build. Everything's it's kind of in the middle. Yeah. It's like if you flip it, it's like a middle finger sticking up. But we have a few more games. Let's see if that changes things up as far as our board. We're going to talk about what we have at 4 more games. It's Colorado and the Angels. Griffin Canning, Cal Quantrill. No Colorado lineup just yet. See, like this? Yeah, okay. All right. We have the Angels, who have almost a 5 total, which is kind of surprising. 4.71. Chanel, Rengifo, Ward, Calhoun, Neto, Vice, Adele, Moniak, and Guillerme. Not the most opposing lineup, but I'm kind of surprised. That's also not a lot of respect for Cal Quantrill. Where do you have the Rockies and the Angels?
See, I'm thinking Canning's gonna be like the popular punt choice, and I don't like that at all. So that's going to make me take Colorado up a notch to We Live in a Society. Just because they are relatively cheap, easy to stack. And I love getting like some of the more expensive pieces, like a Brenton Doyle, quite a bit. I ran Sims before the show, and Colorado was really, really popping. So I do like Colorado probably more than I should. The Angels, I think, are absolute trash. They do have some decent pieces, though, and it's a pretty decent spot. So I think I would say we live in a world of a salary cap with the Angels.
So you said move Colorado up a spot. I'm assuming, as always, they start at the bottom, and we got sidetracked, and you're moving up to we live in a world of a salary cap, correct?
We live in a
society.
Yeah. They are simming incredibly well. So I do like them all the way up there.
If you want to go the leverage angle, I suppose. Dylan Floro traded to Arizona. Not a big deal. Marcana is on San Fran. I don't know who was involved, but those don't really matter. Okay. Wow. Okay, that surprised me because I always think you said move them up. I figure Colorado starts at the bottom. I do understand your angle, and I wanted to do it too, but I'm looking at the Colorado lineup. And I'm like, well, who do I want to play? Toglia, maybe Tovar, maybe McMahon.
What about Doyle?
Yeah, I guess he's probably their best hitter actually.
Yeah.
These days. Blackman, I just never play basically. Okay. 3 more games. Crunch time coming in 5-10 minutes, give or take. Patrick Corbin, Ryan Nelson. Did we get a Washington lineup or no? I don't think we did. Right. We did get an Arizona lineup. It is Sans, Christian Walker hitting the IL. He's got an oblique. What is that? What's the body part? He's got a side, I guess. That's the side, right? Oblique, technically, or not technically. That's the technical term. He's got a side if we're doing body parts. Marte Moreno once again batting second. The cheap catcher Gurriel, Suarez, Grichuk, McCarthy, Newman, Carroll with the walk-off last night, but he is buried because it's left on left. And Perdomo, a 5 total for Arizona. I really wanted Christian Walker to play, but how much does that weaken the stack for you? Because of course, Marte is awesome. You can play Moreno as like a cheap catcher, but I don't, Suarez not what he once was against lefties when he used to thrive in Cincinnati. I don't love it, especially if they're going to be getting some ownership. Grichuk and Gurriel are fine. And then Washington, and Ryan Nelson's not good. So you can always, CJ Abrams is always like the pivot off the pivot as far as shortstops. And certainly he can be the top shortstop on the board. Yepes, cheap first baseman. Wood, tons of power, strikes out a ton, but probably not striking out for Nelson. Where do you have the Nats and the D-backs?
I think the Diamondbacks are clearly a top stack against Corbin. So they're, if you want to get all technical, over 5 total against Corbin. Obviously hurts quite a bit with no Walker, but I still love the stack. Ryan Nelson is not very good at all. Expected the Nationals total to be a little bit higher than this. They're still under 4, so I'm going to put them in the middle.
Yeah, Nelson, not a good strikeout guy. He doesn't really walk. He's a good control guy, and the ground balls are all right too. So, but he's not, anybody's going to like blow the ball by you or anything. I was thinking about rostering him as like one of the cheap options. I couldn't talk myself into it because of the absence of Lane Thomas. I'm like, oh, well, Lane Thomas is gone. This Washington lineup's not going to be good. So if you stare at it long enough, you might talk yourself into Nelson, which I guess there's worse things you can do. It's not something I really want to be doing. Hit that like button. Maybe you can get another tater out of Tim as well. Just hit it, just to be kind. It doesn't cost you anything. Also subscribe so you know when we go live. Turn on those notifications. Do all those things. Hit all the buttons. Hit everything. I think there's 2 more games left, Tim. I think there's 2. Let's see. 2 more games to go. Crunch time coming in about 5 minutes or so. Ooh, Nick Senzel was 0 for 16 against Waka. Was that what? I was going to not roster Nick Senzel, and I'm still going to not roster Nick Senzel. That's nothing changes for me. Dodgers, Padres, Glasnow, Waldron, the knuckleballer. Dodgers not even a 4 total, which is kind of surprising. I know.
I was stunned when I saw that.
Yeah, Lux is the projected. Freeman's out. That's okay. So it should be noted. I have not seen clarity in this, but I know we went on the bereavement list. Hopefully, everything's okay with this child. That you have to be on the bereavement list for between 3 and 7 days, and the 3rd day just passed. So the window is open for him to come back today. I'm not saying it is, but just that's why the lineup looks goofy, right? It's like Gavin Lux in the cleanup spot, Hayward, Outman's back, Hernandez, Biggio, Ahmed. They do have a couple guys not coming back, like Kiermaier, and they trade for somebody else. Well, of course, the pitcher Flaherty. But yeah, Rosario. Isn't Rosario coming at some point too? So maybe he shows up tonight. I have no idea. But yeah, this is what we have as of right now.
Yeah, Doyle's not in the Colorado lineup, so bring them down to the middle.
Why would he? He's only their best hitter.
That's so stupid. Bring Colorado down to the middle. Yeah.
Is Canning going to get away with it? He's going to get away with it, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I hate that. Yeah, I mean, I think the Dodgers are getting a little bit of disrespect here. I would still put them in We Live in a Society just because that top half is still really, really good. And I don't really respect Waldron that much. So I still like the Dodgers.
Yeah. I still think there's a chance that Rosario or Freeman pop up. But as of right now, the Dodger lineup looks pretty rough as far as our projections. So you have the Dodgers, and we live in the world of a salary cap. No, we live in a society. And San Diego in play 10% of everybody. Is that correct?
I'd put San Diego down to we got sidetracked.
That's what I thought. Oh, we're perfectly symmetric now. Yeah, look at that. Symmetry. But we do have one more game, Tim. We have one more game. So it's going to change it's going to screw up our symmetry. But hey, we can't just ignore it, right? The game's happening for sure. Oakland taking on San Fran, Battle of the Bay. JP Sears, Robbie Ray. Oakland barely a 3 total. No lineup just yet for San Fran. Of course, they traded away Jorge Soler. So that lineup is going to be weakened. Sears against Robbie Ray. Super, super chalky. Robbie Ray. Where do you have the Giants and the Athletics?
Athletics can go way down to the bottom. I don't mind a couple of these Giants righties. So I do like Tyler Fitzgerald to hit a home run tonight at plus 600 on BetMGM, plus 630 on FanDuel. So that's my next tater. And I'd put them right in the middle.
All right. Being told here in chat from Justin Sports, Doyle hurt his finger in the dugout being a dum-dum. Finger laceration from swinging a towel. Okay. I didn't know that's what happened there, but maybe that's what's going on. All right. I'm sorry. I apologize. Did you have Oakland at the bottom? Is that correct? And we got
Oakland at the bottom, San Fran in the middle.
Yeah, by the way, worth noting, I mentioned this before. Josh Young is back. He's making his season debut. Not fast enough for my for my dynasty team, Tim. I know you like to talk about the dynasty.
Wow.
We're already in dead last.
How is your dynasty team doing?
First to last, first to worst. I finished first last year, and I'm in dead last this year. But and Josh Young, part of the reason, I think I traded Ketel Marte for Josh Young in the offseason. Bad move by me. bad job. Terrible management. Worse management than like the Angels or the Athletics. Just really, really egregious. Bad job by me. But yeah, we'll get them next year. We're going to bounce back for sure. We're sellers. It's a seller's market, so we're trying to get some pieces for next season. If there's any questions in chat, by all means. Oh, you know what? Questions are going to go to Crunch Time because Crunch Time, they're here. We got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. We have Keith Eyster. We got Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood. Let's go ahead and bring in Crunch Time. What is up, Kevin Roth? How are things?
It's good. It's good. I'm glad that Baltimore is not on the main slate. So feeling good.
Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. The trade deadline just passed, by the way. Myself and Keith.
No more surprises, right? We're not gonna get. We're good.
I don't like. Sometimes the paperwork gets clogged, and maybe
they can still be announced after it's happened. So we'll probably still hear about a couple.
Okay.
Gregory Soto was just traded to Baltimore, so there you go. Like Austin Slater was traded to Baltimore as well. This is the Baltimore fans are not going to be happy that this is what they have coming back. Austin Slater and Gregory Soto. Although they did get who'd they get? Eloy Jimenez, which seems like a weird place from him. I don't know. Jack Flaherty going to the Dodgers.
A lot of outfielders. Good for them.
Are they lacking in right-handed power or something? Why are they acquiring these right-handed outfielders?
Dave, did you make the call? Are you the GM for Baltimore? Why did you make? You should have traded for a pitcher.
I mean, they did that. They overtraded for one pitcher. I don't know. It certainly didn't make sense. What I've seen so far, I don't think we've even really seen all of Baltimore's moves. I don't know. It seemed like they were like in a great position to win the whole thing, and I don't feel like they're in any better position today than they were 2 days ago.
Well, they're in a worse position because the Yankees got better, the Dodgers got better, and they stayed the same, essentially, more or less.
Yeah. I would agree with that. So, I take no responsibility for those moves.
And, Keith, we were talking about this last night on the podcast, on the Morning Grind. Rooker didn't get moved. I guess it's still possible, but it doesn't seem like it's happening. Just peculiar for Oakland.
Yeah, I mean, he still has team control. They can move him in the offseason. They can move him at next year's deadline. But I mean, we talked about it. He's having a career year. His value is probably as high as it's going to get, and Oakland's going nowhere for the next at least 2 or 3 years. So I thought it would have made a lot of sense for them to get as much as they could right now. But it doesn't mean they can't trade him in the offseason or any time in the future, really.
Dave, you're still you're an Atlanta fan, right? Braves?
Yeah.
Are you happy? It's weird because they're like well positioned to make the playoffs, but they're, the one guy that was supposed to get hurt, Chris Sale, is the only healthy guy, right?
Yeah.
Not the only one.
I feel like this is the year Atlanta sort of flips the script on Philly. Usually it's the Braves who rock and roll, and then the Phillies come in as this random wild card and beat them in the playoffs. It's going to be the opposite this time.
Yeah, that's how the playoffs go, man. And it's anybody can win, chip in a chair, that kind of deal. Kevin, did you have to pump out the Baltimore? What time is that game? 6:40. I see people in chat talking about it. Okay, so I didn't mean to stop you if you thought that was relevant and there's something going on there weather-wise, because I have no idea. But is there a weather alert that needs to go out for the people? We got to get out of here.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. It's fine. They still got 20 minutes. We're all right.
All right. Yeah, because my brain's on the main slate in Washington or Baltimore. Not in the main slate, but we've already overstayed our welcome plenty anyway. Anyways, myself and Tim and all of my Deanisms, I meant to work them in throughout the show, but I did a bad job. I totally forgot about that. But Tim, nicely done as far as the board. We're going to step aside and get out of here. Crunch time. You got 50 minutes 50 minutes of crunch time, at least as far as first pitch. Keith Eyster, Dave Potts, Kevin Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we live in a world of a salary cap, and we're going to make you the very best lineups that we can make. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood in the house. What up, Cheese?
Not too much. Happy Tuesday to you, good sir.
It feels like I haven't seen you in a minute. Am I making that up? Were you off or something?
No, I mean I was around. I just I don't know. It's been a few days. And then we had the weekend in there, and you know,
felt like usually I see you 2-3 times a week. It feels like it's been a minute, but good. Always good to see you. And we got Keith Eyster in the house as well. Maybe we'll get some Eysters Flysters. How are you, Ice?
Doing well. Fun little slate here. Pretty strong at the top end of pitching. Offense is pretty spread out, I think. So be a fun one to get in and break down.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear if you guys are in alignment or if you're going different directions. That's always kind of fun for me when it's not just clear chalk. A quick little weather update here. People still want what's going on in Baltimore because there are sports bettors, there are other things. So briefly, I will say, I think there's a good chance of a delay of some sort in Baltimore still. I fully expect the game will play, whether or not they play it on time and have an early delay, or they late start and that's the delay, and then it's fine the rest of the night. I don't know. That's their choice. They haven't announced a late start, so I think if they play on time, pretty good shot they get an early delay. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think that early delay would be super long for what it's worth. So that's where I stand on that one. And then as far as the actual main slate goes, there are 2 games I'm watching. One is Philly, where it's just a low chance of a delay. Bats are absolutely fine. And if I'm playing pitchers or thinking about it, I'm sticking with it. I think
that's actually not main slate either.
Oh, well, shit. I mean, this is great. I love this. Okay, well then we'll move on to St. Louis, which is thank you, handsome guy. I think Cheesy's talking to you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. St. Louis is the only interesting game, I guess, on the main slate. I'm fairly confident at worst it's a late start. So whatever you're planning on doing in St. Louis, stick with it. Bats, pitchers, all the things. Models have been horrible in St. Louis today, like all over the place. It's been horrible. But now the storms have popped. So now I don't need models anymore. Like I think we just look at radar, and I think it's a late start at worst. Kevin Roth, has anyone ever said you look a lot like a grown version of Jimmy Neutron?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'm going to have to Google that and see what Jimmy Neutron looks like. I don't quite remember, but thank you. Thank you for that compliment. I'm sure he's a good looking man.
Oh, that's a huge compliment. Yeah. Like I do know what he looked like, and still I'm bringing up a picture. Just
yeah.
That makes me happy.
I'll give it a look. So that's it for weather. I think in general, the weather's going to cooperate for us. So yeah, I feel like he had a giant head.
Well, yeah, but it's more than he had a small body, you know, and you have a regular human-sized body.
No, I see it. Even as it's the smile, I think.
Yeah.
I see it.
Yeah. Oh, it's there for sure.
Yeah. All right. I approve. I'll take that. Hey, let's talk about the slate. Excuse me, guys. I got a little trying to get over something here. Let's talk about what we're doing here. Cheese, you want to give me an overview and maybe dive into pitchers?
Yeah. So the big picture here is we have chalk at pitcher and we do not have chalk at hitter. Like our ownership projections don't show a single hitter over 15%, nor do the bats. And I think that's what we get. I think there's so much hitting to like, and it's all over the place. I don't think it matters at all who you play there for ownership. But on the pitching side, we have some pretty mega chalk with Hunter Brown and Robbie Ray, which is they're the top 2 pitchers with salary considered, and I still don't know what to really say about it. It seems weird to have Tyler Glasnow at like half or a third of the ownership of Robbie Ray. Like what kind of world is this? I did ramp up my Tyler Glasnow in place of Robbie Ray, but I'm not sure that Glasnow is okay. I'm nervous. So I've done an equal amount of shifting some Ray chalk to Michael Wacha and Justin Steele. I think you could do Max Scherzer in there. I don't like Scherzer as much. I prefer Wacha and Steele as the direct pivots. I am okay with Hunter Brown chalk. He's just been so good and steady. that I'm eating more Hunter Brown chalk than Robbie Ray chalk for sure. And playing mostly Brown on FanDuel. As far as cheaper stuff, there's a lot of like viable-ish options. I mean, like, I think a lot of people are going to play Griffin Canning. I'm not one of those people, but just like last week, like it's just the ideal matchup. So I get it, but he's also really bad and he's not super cheap. Like we don't have any 4K pitchers or even 5K pitchers. So like you can do Canning, you could do Sean Manaea, you could do JP Sears, but personally, I'm just going all the way down to David Festa. But even there, all the way down is only 6,000 on DK. So this is not like, it's not that hard to get the guys in the 8K range up to Hunter Brown. So majority of my lineups have 2 pitchers 8K and above, but I do have a fair amount of Festa. And like, I'm not going to yell at you for playing Canning. I think a lot of people are going to play Canning, but it's not going to be me.
Okay. I had the wrong mic plugged in. Thank you to the YouTube chat for pointing out that my audio sucked. Hopefully it sounds better now. Talk to me about pitchers because I feel like there's chalk, but we don't love the chalk. Is that what's happening here?
I think there's 2 chalk pitchers in Hunter Brown and Robbie Ray. I love Hunter Brown. It's an amazing matchup against Pittsburgh. They're like second worst in WRC plus. They strike out at like 24%. So fantastic matchup for Hunter Brown. As Cheese said, he's been really consistent. He struggled out of the gates. His first like 4 or 5 starts were pretty poor, but he has been incredible since then. Strikeout rate is up to 25%. Just love this matchup for Hunter Brown. So I'm perfectly okay with that chalk, trying to get overweight on it. In fact, Robbie Ray is definitely an interesting case. Has made 1 start this season, was very good against the Dodgers with 8 strikeouts. I don't know if that's truly who Robbie Ray is. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery, had been over a year since he had pitched since that appearance against the Dodgers. The matchup on paper looks great against Oakland. There's definitely strikeouts in the Oakland lineup, but Oakland over the last 30 days has been the best offense in baseball, which is just insane. So if you're looking at season-long numbers, it looks like a fantastic matchup. If you're paying attention to a little bit more recent data, I think there's a lot more risk here for Robbie Ray than the longer-term numbers would suggest. I don't like the ownership number. So like Cheese, I'm underweight on Robbie Ray. I think the main difference between Cheese's strategy and mine is he's playing a little bit more Tyler Glasnow, which is certainly understandable. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball, if not the best, right there with Paul Skeens when he is right. He hasn't been right for like 3 starts. He struggled for a couple, went on the IL, and then came back in his last one and wasn't great in that. I don't love the matchup against San Diego, who's a really high contact team. When Glasnow's right, matchup just doesn't matter. He could strike out 10 guys against anybody. I'm just not certain he's right. I certainly understand Cheese's position. I think we're getting a discount on the ownership because people are seeing that. And 20% Tyler Glasnow is certainly appealing in any matchup. My personal guy that I'm going overweight on is Max Scherzer. Also has not been great since coming back from injury until his most recent start. Needs to be taken with a grain of salt because that recent start was against the awful, historically bad White Sox. But Max was really good his last time out. The pitch count seems to be on the rise. St. Louis is not an offense I'm terrified of. A decent amount of lefties in there against him, and his strikeout rate has been lower to lefties, especially this season. So I definitely get why we're getting such low ownership on Max Scherzer. But I'm looking at 10% on Max Scherzer at 8,500 when if he's right and he's somewhere around what we saw last season, which was a 28% strikeout pitcher, 8,500 is too cheap given the matchup. So that's my main difference is I'm heavily overweight on Scherzer and not so much on Glasnow. I like Justin Steele. I like Michael Wacha. I'm overweight on both of those guys. The price tag on Wacha is a little bit sticker shock, but it's the White Sox, and it's an even worse version of the White Sox as they traded away Eloy Jimenez and Paul DeJong. Like there's nobody left there for the White Sox. So Wacha feels overpriced, but when you consider the matchup, I'm perfectly okay with that. I too am trying to avoid the cheap stuff. Griffin Canning certainly has a great matchup against Colorado. No Brenton Doyle in the lineup for Colorado is nice for him as well. He's cheap. he's been awful this season, and I don't know even in this matchup if I need to go there, especially because the 8K and above range is so strong. There's Luis Castillo we didn't even mention. I don't love the matchup in the ballpark downgrade for him, but he's really low owned. I'll sprinkle a couple Luis Castillo lineups in there, but not a great spot for him. Again, just a talented pitcher. I think you could take some shots on, but mostly avoiding Griffin Canning. I think the other interesting option down there is David Festa. Not a great matchup for him either against the Mets, who don't strike out very much. They've also been red hot, one of the best offenses in baseball here recently. But Festa was a big strikeout guy in the minors, and he's even cheaper than Canning. So if you're looking for a pivot off of Canning, I think Festa is in play as well.
And that was Cheese's cheap pivot as well. So that all checks out. Okay, so basically Hunter Brown and kind of shotgun spray other dudes a little bit, like kind of all over the place.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, it's not too many. Scherzer's the big overweight stance.
You name like 7 dudes. You name like 7 dudes. So
yeah, that's fair. 7.
Yeah.
Seven's not an overly large pitching pool for 40 lineups. So
that's true. And so for you, your highest SP2 is Scherzer. Your like ownership wise, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Let's go ahead. Apparently, some lineups coming out, and they are. John calls the Dodgers lineup buns. Matt says check out that Miami lineup. Lol. As these lineups come out, let's see. Is there interest? I don't know who's pitching against Miami, but do you see these lineups and you're like, oh man, this actually changes things at all?
Miami's not on the slate either.
right.
Well, damn.
But thanks for asking. It's a good question.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and go into some of the stats and some of the stacks. You're not stacking Miami because they're not on the slate. Ice, what are you stacking?
And that's the reason we're not stacking Miami for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not because of the lineups that's buns.
Ice, what are we looking at here? You said it's kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah, I think it will. If anybody's going to be chalk, it's probably the Royals against Jonathan Cannon. I think the Diamondbacks will be fairly popular against Patrick Corbin, and I definitely like both of those spots. Seattle is pretty cheap, and they're picking up some ownership as well. James Paxton is an interesting case, was awful with the Dodgers, had a pretty good start his first time out with the Red Sox. So I don't know if they made a tweak there or fixed something with James Paxton. But I'm a little uncomfortable with Mariners ownership. The pivots that I really like, I would call that probably like the top tier. You could put the Cubs right there. It is a bullpen game against the Reds, which I don't love bullpen games, but I do love the ballpark there. Not exactly sure who's coming in behind the opener. Nick Martinez has been speculated, who's very low strikeouts, and I think the Cubs have tremendous upside because of the ballpark here. The Rangers against Lance Lynn, definitely love the lefties there at a very minimum. Corey Seager, one of the top options on the slate. The Braves against Joe Ross are certainly in play. Those are going to be my main primary stacks. And then to get off the board, Cheese's favorite, a little bit of leverage. I like the Oakland A's a good amount against Robbie Ray, taking an underweight stance on Ray. So might as well try to take some of these Oakland bats against them. As I mentioned, their recent history has been phenomenal. I don't think a couple shots, and this is more of a mini stack for me, a couple shots on the Rockies against Griffin Canning, if he's going to be super popular. And I thought he was going to be a little bit more popular than we're actually showing. 14% is not really an ownership number that I feel like I need leverage on. So I'm kind of cooling on the Rockies a little bit, where I do really like Ryan McMahon, but there's just not a lot of talent in that lineup beyond that. But Royals, Diamondbacks, Mariners, I would call the top tier. I don't know if I mentioned the Astros. I like them a good amount as well. Astros, Cubs, Rangers is kind of the main pivots. And then the A's for a little leverage.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts stack-wise here?
There's so much offense, and I love all of it. I do not think there's any chalk. I really don't think a single batter is anywhere close to even 20% in that big tournament. I would not even consider ownership for a second in anything with bats. That's my stance on it. I have a fair amount of not full stacked lineups, like a lot of 3-3-2 kind of stuff. because you can afford it if you're not getting just a couple of super expensive bats. If I have to pick a couple favorite teams, I'm going to say Texas, Kansas City, Atlanta, and the Rockies. But I like everybody.
Yeah. Zach says, dude just named every team talking about ice. But I mean, that's where we're at, right? There's a lot of legitimately good.
And he didn't even name all the teams that could quite clearly score 15 runs.
Yeah. I mean, 7 or 8 out of 22 teams. 7 or 8 out of 22 teams. I would not consider that a lot, but
no. And
if you want less analysis, I can give less analysis.
No. We want more. We definitely want more. And Cheese, there's more. Like there's more than that are. Is this one of those slates where basically any team you're like, yeah, that's viable, or not quite? Maybe anyone but against Hunter Brown.
So in large field, yes, except I do have some kind of clear tiers. Like I do have a bottom tier. Like I've got about 10 teams that I essentially don't have any of, or maybe have 1 or 2 in a very large field tournament. But I've got something like 12 teams that essentially are all just a tie.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's go around the horn, position by position. Cheese, start me off with some catcher talk. By the way, Ice Mario Donizzi says, "Don't pay attention to the haters." I don't mean to be a hater. You're doing awesome. I didn't mean to bring up like negative comments. You're great as always.
Don Easy always has our back, so appreciate him.
All right, Cheese, what are we doing here at catcher?
So there's going to be a lot of plays at every position that are pretty great, and play some catchers on FanDuel today too because they're cheap.
Big dumper. Can we play the big dumper?
Well, he's the top play on the slate, catcher wise.
Oh, baby, I love it.
And you can play him on FanDuel as well because he's very affordable there. You can play Garver as well in that game. To me, Raleigh and Sal Perez are the clear top 2, with Will Smith being a spend up to be different. There's a lot of totally fine plays that it's really hard to fit in or find a reason to play outside of like MME full stacking, like the Contreras brothers, Tyler Stevenson, Sean Murphy, Yainer Diaz. Like it's all fine. But when I'm not playing in a stack, it's mostly Raleigh or Perez or going down to Garver. Got some Jonah Heim. I'm Matt Thace is my favorite cheap guy if you need a cheap punt on DK. And Will Smith in particular on FanDuel, I like a good bit.
Okay. Ice, your thoughts of catcher? You got some big dumper in those lineups. I know it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the guy just homers every day. Why would you not play him?
It's legit.
Sal Perez is fantastic. Love this matchup for him. Yainer Diaz against a lefty, I like a good amount. Similar matchup for Mitch Garver. Nice ballpark upgrade there as well against Paxton. Moreno is cheap near the top of the order. A little bit of ownership there, but don't mind that. Sean Murphy as a pivot in tournaments, I think is fantastic. And then the cheap punt I'll throw out there is Miguel Amaya. Has been awful this season. Recently did tweak his swing and had a couple of days off. This was like a couple weeks back, and has been a little bit better since that whole ordeal. But he's minimum price and in Great American Ballpark, so don't hate that as a punt.
Okay, great. How about first base, Ice?
Yeah, Ohtani up top is obviously fantastic. Matt Olson continues to hit the ball hard without a ton of results, but I like this matchup a ton for him against Joe Ross. Let's see here. Vinny Pasquantino is fantastic. I don't like stacking Reds against Justin Steele, but Spencer Steer is certainly okay as a one-off if you're chasing power there. Paredes, the new addition to the Cubs lineup, I do like a good amount, has third base eligibility as well. Michael Busch, another option for the Cubs. Jake Bowers is kind of a middle range option. Lefties against Elder have had quite a bit of success. A little bit cheaper still. Juan Yepes has been really good for the Nats and gets a matchup against a low strikeout pitcher.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at first?
Mostly the same names, and Olson and Pasquantino are my 2 favorites. Michael Busch on DK. I like him at other positions on FanDuel. I'm playing a lot of Michael Toglia, and I've got Nolan Shanuel in there also for cheaper stuff. And everyone Keith named.
Okay. How about second base?
It's it's tempting to spend up for Ketel Marte and a little Altuve as well. Like they're very good plays. I'm still not just crazy about spending my salary at second. It's a little easier on FanDuel, but even there, like we've got stuff like Michael Massey, Dylan Moore, Fitzgerald on FanDuel, and Michael Bush on FanDuel. So I am spending down more. I would say Massey and Bush are the kind of the two standouts on the FanDuel side. On the DK side, Massey, Jorge Polanco, and then did we get Washington lineup yet? I don't know. If Travis Blankenhorn is playing, he's a minimum salary guy with some power. I would use him as the cheap play.
Okay. Ice, your thoughts second?
I do really like spending up on Ketel Marte in particular. He's just been so good against lefties throughout his career, really, but especially this year. And he's been red hot as well, if you believe in hot streaks. Altuve is great against a lefty. Has had a down season against lefties, but still leading off for a decent Houston lineup. I don't mind. Agree with Cheese that Massey in the mid-range, now that he's been bumped up to the leadoff spot, he's even better. Love the matchup for him. Nico Horner got a bump down in the opposite direction in the order. He's down to the 6th hole today, but still think he's okay with a little bit of speed upside. Jorge Polanco is great with the nice ballpark upgrade. Gavin Lux has been a little bit better for the Dodgers, and he has a nice lineup spot today. Nacho Alvarez, if you're looking to punt, I think is okay for the Braves.
Okay. How about third base?
All right. So Devers is a fantastic one-off. I'm not stacking against Castillo, but Luis Castillo has struggled with some lefty power this season, so I like spending up on Devers. Royce Lewis, a similarly great spend up, a little bit cheaper than Devers. Mentioned Paredes at first. Don't mind him here at third. Josh Smith, one of those Rangers lefties I really like against Lance Lynn. Ryan McMahon is my favorite Rocky if you're looking to play some guys against Griffin Canning. Josh Jung is back in our lives, who has been out pretty much the whole season. Missed a bunch of time last year, but has been really good when he's been out there. He's a Rangers righty, but I prefer the lefties, but Young is interesting coming back from the IL. Eugenio Suarez, don't mind chasing some power there against Corbin. Dylan Moore is a good option here against a lefty. And I think that covers it.
Okay. Cheese, you got some Jung in there?
No. I mean, it's great that he's back. He's fine in a Texas stack. I mean, he's fine anywhere, but like he's not one of my favorite third basemen on this slate. My favorite would be, if spending up a little bit, Royce Lewis is my favorite, followed by Riley and Chapman. Going a little cheaper, Suarez is my favorite. And then kind of in between that group is Ryan McMahon. That's the bulk of my pool, is that group right there. There's plenty of viable stuff, but I don't have anyone else I want to name individually.
Okay. Then that brings us to short. Spending up.
Yeah. Still waiting to try to get these extra shortstop spots added in. It's not going well.
It's not happening. Yeah, it's weird.
I would like to play Witt, De La Cruz, Seager, Abrams, and Lindor in most of my lineups, and they're just not letting me do it. And
yeah. It's rude.
And I'd like to play Tyler Fitzgerald and Dansby Swanson and Ezekiel Tovar. It's so good. So I have a lot more Seager than Witt just because of the $1,100 difference. And I'm just going to assume the White Sox grew up overnight and realized if you have a 2-run lead and the bases are loaded and Witt is up, you walk him. Like, I'm not even kidding. They should have walked him. Like, I don't even think it's debatable. That was a terrible idea. I don't think they let him hit a grand slam. I think you walk him. I really do. Even if the game is tied, I would walk him. Seager and Witt are like my two favorites, but De La Cruz and Abrams are very close, and I love all of them. I'm just going to leave it at that. This is not the position to spend down because you can do that anywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, you can't give him a pitch he can hit, right? You don't have to intentionally walk him, but you can just like...
There is no... I mean, What pitch is he not hitting? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's fair. Ice, what are you doing at short? All of it.
Witt and Seager are two of the top plays on the entire slate, any position. CJ Abrams is a pivot that I absolutely love today. Great matchup for him against the low strikeouts of Ryan Nelson, and we're looking at like maybe 2% ownership, speed upside to go along with a little bit of power. If you're looking for a little cheaper, and as Cheese said, it's not really recommended today, but there are some decent options in like the 4K range. Jeremy Pena, Willie Adames, and Tyler Fitzgerald would be the guys to save a little bit of money.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the outfield. By the way, we have just oodles of time. We have like 25 minutes until lock, but walk me through what we're doing in the outfield, Ice.
All right. Ohtani, obviously, on every slate. Jaron Duran is a spend up to be different against Luis Castillo. Mentioned his troubles with lefty power. Yordan Alvarez, one of the top lefty hitters on the entire planet. Brent Rooker is a one-off that I absolutely love today against a very popular Robbie Ray. Let's see here. Byron Buxton for a little bit cheaper. I like a good amount. Seiya Suzuki and Ian Happ for the Cubs in a great ballpark today. Lourdes Gurriel in a Diamondback stack is outstanding. Let's see here. I like the Houston cheapies if going all the way down, Jake Myers or Chas McCormick. Grichuk is another Diamondbacks outfielder. I like a good amount. Victor Robles leading off for Seattle has been pretty good since they acquired him. MJ Melendez for the Royals is in a great spot. There's all kinds of names here.
Okay, great. Cheese, I'm seeing MJ Melendez, as Ice mentioned here. He's got 3 little dots. Were one of those dots your little dots?
Yeah, that's my little blue dot there.
Mm-hmm.
My Smurf colored dot.
Nice.
I didn't even think about that till now. That's why it's blue. I knew there was a reason I asked for blue. So the mid tier is pretty fantastic. Like I do like Ohtani and Alvarez and Ozuna, sure. But like the 4K range on DK and the 3K range on FanDuel is good enough. I don't think you have to spend up. Keith named some of them like Gurriel, Suzuki and Happ. I've got Taylor Ward in there as well. Rosa Reynick. The list kind of goes on, and they're all just quite affordable that you can get 3 of those guys if you want. So that's most of what I'm doing. Melendez is my favorite cheap guy. Also fine with the Astros that Keith mentioned, and some cheap Angels as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to do some home run calls. Also, Cheese, Ice, I don't know if you saw the news. Trout had a setback in his rehab. When asked if he will respond this year, the GM said, "We'll see if he will be back this season." So that sounds like no. Personally, sounds like a no.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but there's really no reason for them to bring him back, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some home run calls here. Let's get some bombs. The people want some bombs. They want some Eisters, Fleisters. Ice, what do you got for them?
All right, I will go. Give me Brent Rooker against the chalky Robbie Ray. Love him today. I like Ian Happ in Cincinnati. And for cheap, let's go Chas McCormick against Bailey Falter.
Okay. Cheese, you got some names for me?
Sure. Ryan McMahon and James Wood and cheap little not just to make a joke, but to be serious, Matt Carpenter.
Yes. Love it. Bring back the cart bombs. Hey, everybody, you want to get ahead of the competition? Of course you do. Well, you got to sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. You have an option for whatever level you're looking for. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price, $469.99. That'll save you 250 bones as opposed to buying 6 individual months of combo premium. And if you're not a fan of commitment, you can get a month of RG combo premium for $120. How good is that? If you want a test run before you dip your toes in the water, before you dive on in, 3-day pass is $19.99. I went to a taco place with my daughter today, and we spent like $30 on tacos, and she didn't eat any of them. I could have just saved that money, and then I could have purchased RG Premium, but I didn't, and that was a mistake. Don't make the same mistake that I did. Buy RG Premium, $19.99 for 3 days, and then you're going to get it forever because you'll realize how great it is. Let's take some QQs starting in the Discord here. Scrolling up a little bit. A few people say, hey, I'm sorry I missed the pitching discussion. Your favorite FanDuel pitchers. Is Cheese playing Castillo? There's kind of a lot of pitching questions. So Cheese, I will let you start with, is Cheese playing any Castillo? We'll build into FanDuel, and then we'll just give a general pitcher discussion.
Okay. I have 0 Castillo. He's viable, but I have 0. Essentially, the guy that is chalk that both Keith and I are good with is Hunter Brown. I think he's cash game play on both sites. Robbie Ray is the other chalk, and I think that's the guy you want to be. I think it's fine to be, even if you want to be over the field, but do not be all in on Robbie Ray. Like, I think you've got to make some pivots off of Ray. The kind of direct pivots are Steele, Wacha, and Scherzer. Keith likes Scherzer. I like Steele. I think we're both fine with Wacha. Or you can spend up to be different with Glass now, or go all the way down to David Festa.
Okay. Ice, when you look at FanDuel, are you just playing the one pitcher that we like, or are you trying to get a little different?
Yeah, Hunter Brown is definitely my favorite option. Scherzer's a little bit more expensive there. He's up to 9,500, so I still like him. I think he can have a great outing here, but a little bit less exciting. Justin Steele, I think, at 9K, 500 cheaper than Scherzer, would be my main pivot off of Brown on FanDuel.
Okay. I did see someone say Scherzer's going to crush because the lineup that they put out against him is absolute trash. Is that something that you had already analyzed, or did that come in since we started the show, Ice?
I don't believe we had the lineup when we jumped on the show. And if I'm being honest, I haven't even looked to see what was mainly different, but it's not a lineup that I'm generally afraid of anyway. The lefties were the biggest concern because of the strikeout rate, and it looks pretty left-handed to me. So I wouldn't even say it's a good lineup.
I would call it a downgrade for him.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, just glancing at it. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, it's small sample size, but Scherzer is worse than Cal Quantrill against lefties this year. I mean, it's 15.6% strikeouts, 9.4%. Well, he's probably not that bad, but like the actual year-to-date stats, he's a bad pitcher against lefties. So facing 6 lefties is not an upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Let's see what else we've got here. Scrolling down. Ooh, so many questions. My God. All right. I have Hunter Brown and DK Cash. Cheese, would Ray be your number 2 in cash, or would you go elsewhere?
I would play Ray.
Okay. Ice, Yepes, 35 on DK, or Bush at 38?
I like them both, but give me Bush.
Okay. Ice, if price does not matter, who is your favorite Phillies player, DK scoring?
The Phillies are also not on the slate. I have not even looked at their matchup today, to be honest with you.
Where are we throwing me curveballs, guys? I mean, come on now. Yeah, okay, we'll get you another one. Ice. Schmidt is hitting second for San Fran. He's 2,400 on FanDuel. He's second, third, short eligible. What's the scoopopotamus on him? That is the actual question. What's the scoopopotamus on the Schmidt fella hitting second for San Fran?
Saw him a little bit last year. He had some flashes of good stuff, but he's probably just an average bat. You don't need the punt types, or there's a lot more, I guess I should say, punt types on FanDuel in that range. I don't think he's one of my favorites, but he's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, FanDuel single entry. Whit Garver. Whit would be a one-off. Garver would be a part of a stack. Or Seager Alvarez. 2 of those would be one-offs, and the lineup would be like a 3-3-1-1.
Seager Alvarez.
Oh, okay. Didn't expect that one. FanDuel cash, Cheese, Suarez, Melendez, or Bush Gurriel?
Bush Gurriel.
Okay. Dean coming with the Witt Grand Slam. I didn't get to see it, but apparently it was not a meatball. It was probably not even a strike.
Blows your theory out of the water. Like
exactly. Yeah.
You walk him, you give him the
right.
Give him the 4.
Just all right. I didn't realize he was doing like some Vlad Senior stuff, just like hitting hitting balls that no man has any business hitting. So, all right, that's fair. What else do we got? D-Dot, Ice, FanDuel, single entry, Canning, or Quantrill? Who's your boy?
Neither of them are my boy. They both have great matchups. That's the best I can say for them. I prefer Canning slightly, but neither has been good.
Okay. FanDuel, single entry, Ice, Lau of the Texas variety, or Diaz of the Houston variety?
It's actually low for Texas. And
Appreciate the effort, though.
I need a first name.
It's so
if you give me the
confusing,
first
I know.
name, I can get it 70% of the time. Which
yeah,
one was it, Ice?
I'll go low. One of those lefties against Lynn.
Okay. It's Nate. It's Nate Lowe, right?
Nate Lowe. Yep.
See, you gave me the first name, Nate. I would have handled it. Cheese, who else is in the Robbie Ray family tree? Meaning other pitchers who we apply the Robbie Ray rule to, which I believe is play him, but also stack against him.
And it's actually officially it's play him when he's not chalk and fade him when he's chalk. You don't want to be overweight on a chalky, and you stack against him and play him. Like both are true. Those are rule. And rather than name all the name, it's walks plus home runs. Like those are the two things. When you have those two things, that's what makes you super high variance.
Mm-hmm.
So guys like Hunter Green and Luis Heel and et cetera, et cetera.
I'm proud that I was about to say Hunter Green. Like that was the first name that popped into my head when you explained that. DK, GPP, Cheese, Biggio, or Lipscomb?
Neither.
Okay. You got another player in that range?
Did you say FanDuel or DK?
It was DK.
So I guess that means we're playing a cheap third baseman. So that's the problem. There may not be a better. If 2,500 is your cutoff, I guess Biggio.
Okay.
Sure.
It looks like we just got a late start here in the Cardinals game. So let's see where we're at there. Let me just take a little peek, make sure. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing there. It's still raining right now. I don't even think it's going to be like a super long late start. I don't even think it's a late start that we sweat about. I expected it to be a late start and play. There's the late start. I think we're on target here for what I was looking at. Ice, Ray, or Waka, FanDuel GPP?
Ray is a better option in my opinion, but he's coming with a lot more ownership. I like the pivot to Waka, so it kind of depends on the rest of your lineup. If you're chalky throughout the rest of your lineup, go Waka. I do prefer Ray in a vacuum, though.
Okay, great. We got FanDuel stack. FanDuel one stack to rule them all. And he's got a nice Lord of the Rings gift that he put in here. Ice, you're playing on FanDuel. You're doing one stack. What are you doing?
Give me Arizona against Corbin.
Okay. Cheese?
The long answer is none. You don't have to stack on FanDuel. The bats are so cheap, you can just get all superstars and do some 2-2-2s or 3-3-2s. But if you want to stack, because that's what you do, give me the Braves.
Okay. Very interesting. All right. Matt says Cheese, DK first base, Vinny P or JD Martinez, and then just eat the money.
Vinny.
DK large field GPP, Ice, Sears and Big Dumper as a one-off, or Ray and Jonah Heim in a Ranger stack.
I can't play Sears. Go to the second one.
Okay. Flores says Heim or Low straight up in a full Texas stack on FanDuel. Oh, sorry, Ice. That was for you. That's my bad. Let me redo that. Yep. Heim or Low straight up in a Texas stack.
Give me Low. Okay,
great. Jumping in the YouTube. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't hit the thumbs up, you should. And it's a little disrespectful. We're not asking for money. You just hit the button, and then we get more eyeballs, and then we can keep the show free. So just hit the thumbs up over there on YouTube if you're watching. We would greatly appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. DK Cash, Cheese, Hap, or Gurriel?
Both very good plays. I would Gurriel.
Rocket Sauce pointing out, I definitely ate the tacos that my daughter. That's true. I ordered 3 tacos. I got her 2. She did not eat her 2. I ate 5 tacos. That is how it went down.
It would be wasteful not to.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Makes complete
Throw-
sense.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to eat 5 tacos in that situation. Markel Jones says, Ice, can you play a one-off Tyler Stevenson versus Justin Steele?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, all right. This is a bat question. I'm going to just ask it. I don't fully understand it, but Ice, what does the bat say on Robbie Ray versus Glasnow and Canning versus Waldron? Projections, please. Like, do we...
This is a guy who didn't pay for the bat, but wants the numbers. This is what this is.
Yeah, right. I'm a little confused. I don't know. Like, we have projections for at RotoGrinders Premium. I fully recommend you sign up, you check it out. But
I'll give him a tease. Robbie Ray is the highest projected pitcher in the bat. That's the tease.
Okay, good stuff. Hammer said, not a question. Can we power rank the top 5 stacks? Can we do that? I feel like this might be tough because they were pretty bunched in. The answer is pay for the bat. I like that. Ice, you think you can give me maybe your top 5 stacks? Is that possible? That's a lot.
Yeah, I
okay.
can definitely do that.
Let's do it.
I'll go Royals, Diamondbacks, Cubs, Astros, Rangers.
Cheese, you want to give that a shot?
And just I will, and it asked me again in 4 minutes. It'll be slightly different, but it would be of the same group of about 10 teams: Royals, Cubs, Braves, Rangers, and for my own personal ownership, Rockies. Although I wouldn't call them the actual 5th best.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Good stuff, guys. What else do we have? Thoughts on Ice? I think you like the Rangers a little bit. Thoughts on Rangers lefty stack?
Yeah, I do like the Rangers, and in particular the lefties. Love
Great.
it.
Okay. We'll go to Devin's question here. DK single entry. Cheese. I need an outfielder 3-3. This is DK single entry. I already have Robles and Melendez.
Okay. If Devin didn't already have Melendez, we would have just kicked him out. That's the Royals guy, I'm pretty sure. Good for you, though. You're allowed to play Isbell if you want to do your thing. But I would do, honestly, Randall Grichuk or Willie Calhoun.
Okay, great. Pinch hit risk on the D-backs. Ice, is there anyone that you were aware of that you were worried about on the D-backs?
I can look it up real quick. Just 1 second here. Take me a minute to get there.
And Cheese, in the meantime, do you look at and care about, and could you inform us on any extreme pitcher or hitters umpires? These are a lot of like people wanting premium.
Want the premium goods, yeah.
Yeah, the premium goods here.
Yeah.
Is there anything noteworthy for you?
I think the only extremes are Scherzer has a pitcher's ump, as does David Festa, our cheap guy. And then the Steele and Waka have hitters umps.
Okay, great. Ice pinch hit risk thoughts here. You get a moment to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find it here. 1 second.
You know what? You're okay. We're doing pretty good. We got a bunch of questions. I wouldn't stress over it. Cheese, Cubs or Royals in a large field GPP?
Royals.
Ice, Robles or Grichuk? DK cash. And do we generally like Seattle bats in cash?
Yeah, I think they're okay with the ballpark upgrade, and I would lean Robles in that 1v1.
Okay. D Nell says, Ice, any Manaya? For whatever reason, I can't get this guy's name right. Maybe I did it, but Manaya, FanDuel.
You had it the first time. Don't doubt yourself.
Yeah, I did. I fully doubted myself.
No Manaya for me. Twins have been really good against lefties this season. Have Royce Lewis back as well, so none for me.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese DK cash question here from Brendan in the YouTube chat. By the way, make sure if you're watching the YouTube chat, hit us with a thumbs up. Keep in mind, we're less than 5 minutes until lock. Get those lineups in. Randy and Massey or Marte and Grichuk, DK Cash, Cheese.
Who is Randy?
Randy or Rosarina?
Randy or Rosarina?
Maybe.
Okay, I got it. He listed a second baseman first and then an outfielder first, but that is second base outfield. DK Cash, I would, assuming that's a Rosarina, I would Massey and Randy that one.
Okay. Well, we've got another Rosarina question next. So, Cheese, I'll come right back to you from Matt. Shohei and Robles or Olsen and Randy?
Shohei and Robles.
Ice on FanDuel in the util spot. We're spending up here. Marte or Yordan?
Wow. It should be Yordan pretty easily, but I love Marte today. It feels weird to say it. I think it's Marte today. And since we're talking Arizona, I do have the pinch hit risk finally. Grichuk has the highest risk at 39%, Kevin Newman at 18%, and that's about it.
Okay, great. Let's see. Any love for the Mets in a $5 lotto? I don't know what lotto means. Is that like giant tournament?
The big tournament on DK is usually $15, but it's $5 this week.
Oh, nice. Okay. So Goombas wants to know if we like the Mets there. I feel like one of you said the Mets have been hitting lately. Ice, that was you, right?
Yeah, lately they have been hitting. David Festa, I think, is a pretty talented pitcher. That doesn't mean they can't beat him up. He's very inexperienced. I don't particularly love it because of the ballpark, but I mean, they went nuts yesterday, so they could certainly do it again. I'm not on it, but they could do it.
I'll add similar weather to yesterday. It's kind of hot and humid, and winds are blowing out a little. Like it's pretty good hitting weather there for what it's worth. So
they scored 100 runs yesterday.
Yes, well, hey, it was probably just weather. I've learned weather's the only thing that matters. So similar weather, probably same outcome.
They were swinging one-handed because they knew how hot it was.
Yeah, we can bunt a home run right now. We just got to make contact and it's out. Cheese, Robles or Grichuk DK single entry?
Robles, but I don't honestly love either of that. Like we're getting a lot of Grichuk and Victor Robles questions, like a lot. Like I just want to be clear, I don't love either of those guys.
Yeah. Okay.
But Robles.
Okay. We've got some Olympics talk. I want 90 seconds from now after lock to talk about the Olympics because I have something that's kind of tilting me on that. Festa over Nelson, Cheese?
Yes.
Yep. DK Cash, Ice Abrams, or Seager?
Seager.
Of course, we got a lot of Mets are amazing talk. I'll let you guess which member of our production team is spamming Mets are amazing in the chat. Just, you
can we block him? Because I have the bench. Can I wonder what would happen.
You're right. We gotta figure out the rules on that. Ice, if I'm playing the leverage game, a full or mini A stack?
I think a full stack is okay. Like Robbie Ray can completely lose his command. He can give up power, so I'm good with the full stack.
Okay, great. People are mad at me because I'm not in the premium chat. That's fair. I did miss that. Heim or Low straight up in a no, we did that, right?
Yep.
All right,
he's asking about the pinch hit risk for Grichuk as for playing him in cash. I think that's the question we missed.
He had the highest. It was 39%.
And just again to kind of go back to this, I don't love Grichuk in cash. Like I like him on DK in a tournament because he's cheaper. Like that salary is more useful there. I wouldn't play him at FanDuel cash personally.
Yeah. Is Scherzer a good pivot from Ray at SB2? Ice says very much so. Ice likes it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a super important bread question, and then I need to give an Olympics take. But first, from Paul, garlic bread, raisin bread, wheat bread, rye bread, baguette bread, or banana bread? Those are our choices. These are very different kinds of bread.
Yeah, really, that's widespread. Yeah. Chez Langelier likes the baguette.
Yeah, no doubt. World-renowned Frenchman. Cheese, do you have a favorite? Garlic bread, raisin bread, wheat bread, rye bread, baguette bread, banana bread? Let's hear it.
If the banana bread is good, it's banana bread for me. There are ranges of banana bread, but that would be my choice.
Yep.
Yeah. I had a crazy grandma growing up. Like she had mental, issues. And when she would go on her manic highs, she would bake like 30 loaves of banana bread all in one night. She would just come over with so much banana bread, and you would just be like, I guess I'm gonna eat banana bread for months at a time. Shout out to my own my mamaw for that. Yeah, you can't overcook it. You can't have it be dry. It's got to be moist. That's the key. I think that's a great take. Ice, do you have a bread take there?
Yeah, these are not even like the same. I know they're all bread, but they're not even like the same thing. So it is
It's
difficult.
so different. Yeah.
I totally agree with Cheese's take on banana bread. It has the highest ceiling of the group, no doubt about that.
And still playable in cash games.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Garlic bread can be done really well as well, especially if you add a little bit of cheese on there.
Yeah.
It's easier to mess up garlic bread. Like there's a lot of bad garlic bread out there, which makes it hard.
If it gets overcooked and you're like,
yeah, if it's
if
hard,
it's
just
crunchy,
overly
like,
garlicky, like you can overdo the butter and garlic and then not like grill it right. There's a lot of ways to go wrong.
Yeah. I am a huge baguette fan, massive baguette guy. So that's my number one. Banana bread's my number two. Yeah, I'm about that life. Sourdough. Can we get a vote on sourdough? Because I freaking love sourdough.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. All right, quick Olympic take, and then we're gonna bounce. We hit lock. We're late. My wife's probably already pissed off that I'm white bread is the woat. Agreed with that comment, Ruthless Villain. We're so interconnected with like Twitter and with all the social media that I know everything that's happening in the Olympics way before it's broadcast on TV. So I now have no reason to watch the Olympics on TV because I know the outcome because everyone's posting it. Is that annoying anyone else or just me? Just me.
No, I think that's no. I wasn't going to watch anything anyway, but it is
okay.
annoying. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I agree. Like that is a obvious problem.
I would legitimately be watching every night if I didn't already know the outcome of all of these things. So I don't give a shit because I know. Anyways, it annoys me. All right, with that, we're gonna bounce out of here. We're late. For Ice, for Cheese, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys. We appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been